WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's the Fan Morning Show.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
With Kevin Bowen.
Watch it!
On 93.5 and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Yeah, stop if you heard me before say this. The Pacers embarrassed and another injury to Malcolm Brogdon. Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook on a Thursday morning Fan Morning Show. We got DeForest Buckner in less than an hour. That's a way to enter a Thursday, right?
A heck of a way to open a Thursday.
You see the old, was he digging a grave there on that sack celebration? Did you see that on Sunday night for Jimmy G?
Revenge games are beautiful things, KB.
Especially when you win. Now, I don't know if we saw last night. Mark, maybe you saw it. Did they carry Nate Bjorkgren off the court last night in Toronto? Did we see that?
I mean, I think that would have been hilarious. That actually
How
happened.
great would that have been?
I heard a Bjorkgren from the crowd.
You know, he was behind the bench. I don't know if you saw that. Like, he's not even sitting front row. So, like, if Domantas Sabonis would have wanted to say hi to him, and that probably would have been the only time Domantas would have been free all night, like, it would have been like climbing over people in an airplane. Hey, Nate, hey, I'm over here, man. Like, just wanted to say hey. But Coach Bjorkgren got the last laugh last night, 118-100. And when I say embarrassing, Chris Duarte after the game, rookie, you know, a guy that all of a sudden has become, you know, whatever, the top 2-3 player on this team right now. And he's a voice. And afterwards he's saying, we got outworked and they played harder. And for me, Jimmy, that is an absolute non-starter when you're the Pacers right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're still not 100% health-wise, and give credit to Duarte, I guess, for knowledge beyond his years or experience beyond his years.
Yeah.
If the rookie is saying that, then you know that you're in trouble somewhere in terms of, I don't know if it's just a mentality in the locker room, but just the effort overall. Like, pretty much outplayed from start to finish in that ball game.
Yeah, and we're talking loose balls. You know, we're talking 50-50 stuff.
You're seeing tons of offensive rebounds
Tons.
on the Raptors side of things.
Yeah, lots of turnovers for the Pacers. And I go back to Domas. He has 4 shot attempts in 34 minutes. And I was thinking driving in this morning, I bet he had 2 or 3 of those in the first 5 minutes of the game. You know, he had a couple offensive rebound putbacks where I'm thinking, boy, Toronto's got no height down low. This is a chance for Domas to have one of those kind of big, 28 and 14 type of nights. And I do think, as crazy as it sounds, the presence of Bjorkgren helped them big time. And just, hey, if you swarm Sabonis, throw a lot of bodies at him, put length on him, you're going to have an ability to take away the most consistent offensive performer. And then with Malcolm Brogdon left the game in the third quarter with that hamstring injury, there went any hope of making any run at the Raptors, who I cannot believe the Pacers have not won in Toronto in 14 straight games.
Yeah, shout out to producer Eddie Garrison, one of our producers around the building. He tried to warn me last night before I bet the Pacers that they have not had success in Toronto, and I tend to not pay attention to that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, it's tough with historical stats like that. Like, that's great, but
these are not college basketball environments.
Right. There are some uncanny ones in the NBA, though. Like, I can't remember. It might be the Pacers, but there's somebody that, like, doesn't win well in Denver. Like, there's
the Pacers don't win in Portland.
There it is.
That's the thing. So I don't know if Drake has a curse on the Pacers or what, but yeah, that was.
I mean, and the big men, specifically Miles and Sabonis, this is weird. These last couple of games, like you look at, and I went to the Bucks game on Monday night. Miles gets what, like 13 minutes, I think, 14 minutes.
Yeah, he was bouncing foul trouble.
Struggles heavily, battling foul trouble. Don't see a ton of him down the stretch. And then Sabonis, you see him in large quantities last night. But as you mentioned, only 4 shots for him. The defensive game plan was clear there for the Raptors. And yeah, I mean, Sabonis has been relatively stable, not only throughout his career, but this season so far. But outside of Turner's 40-point outing, I don't need that every night. They've been kind of average.
You know, and you saw it Monday night, the Bucks had no height on Monday night. The Raptors had minimal height last night. So, like, when you are going to play big, and the other team is not, you have to have an advantage on one end of the floor. And like they did Monday, last night, Jimmy, the smaller team absolutely owned the paint. And that just cannot happen. I think a couple takeaways that I have now. 1-4 start for the Pacers, the worst start in 6 years. Routinely, they are the least athletic team on the floor, night in and night out. And that was very evident last night. Toronto, much more athletic, much longer. And this is something the Pacers have known. You know, when they, as crazy as it sounds, when they drafted Cassius Stanley in the second round, I recall Chad Buchanan after that pick saying, we feel like we've got good basketball IQ on this team. We feel like we've got pretty good skill on this team, but we lack athleticism compared to the rest of the NBA. That is very evident. And the other thing, and I thought Fred VanVleet just put this game on ice late third quarter. The other thing to me that stands out, Jimmy, night in, night out, the Pacers do not have the best guard or wing on the floor. And in the NBA, that is what wins. Eventually, especially in the second half of games, in the fourth quarter, you've got to go give the ball to a guy, and he's got to go get you big-time buckets. And I know I'm simpling it down very, very much, but you look back to whether it was Spencer Dinwiddie, LaMelo Ball, I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, Middleton you can throw into that group, obviously. And then last night with Fred VanVleet, the Pacers have tried to create an advantage in the post, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, and I've been saying, and a lot of people have been saying, I don't know if you're on this train or not, but I've been on the too big philosophy. And granted,
yeah, I'm on
Carlisle has not
I think
played
I'm sitting
them
first class with you
a ton together. I could be wrong on that, but I believe at least early on, you haven't seen a ton of them together.
Nope.
So at least there's that. You're starting to split up the minutes in some regard to how often you see them on the floor. But I'm all about playmakers in today's NBA, and you could make the argument that your best playmaker is your rookie in Duarte. I mean, I think Malcolm probably still has him, or McConnell every now and again off the dribble, but that is your rising piece right now.
For
and
sure.
This looks more like a team that is in rebuilding mode than it is trying to compete for. We're 5 games in, but that's just the vibe you get.
We are 5 games in, but this is not looking great.
No.
I mean, we've talked about the schedule. It is brutal in the month of November. And then last night, Malcolm Brogdon leaves in the third quarter, hamstring pull strain. We'll see the severity on that. It is, Scott Agnes, who we're going to have on a little bit later, mentioned it is the different leg from the hamstring injury he had to end last season. But if you recall then, he missed about 10 games to end last year. And I see Brogdon go to the locker room last night, and my first thought is this. No shock. No surprise. The dude misses, on average, about a quarter of an NBA season, which is a massive amount for a guy that you've traded a first-round pick for,
and
give it $80 million to, and just extend it. And like, that's where I've got all these friends and people that are like, just wait till they get healthy. They won't get healthy. This is the status quo of this roster and the injury history with these players, and that's my worry.
I have hope for LeVert. TJ Warren I can't speak to,
I don't
but I have
throw
hope for
LeVert
LeVert's
into
health.
that category, but I put Brogdon and Warren strictly into that group. And you can go back, and LeVert did have some injury history at Michigan. There were questions about Miles Turner and staying healthy coming out of Texas and things like that. I don't put them in the Brogdon-Warren category, but Brogdon-Warren, man, if it weren't for Paris Campbell and Kamoko Turey, we'd be throwing the big-time injury label on them a whole lot more.
In addition to my earlier comment about lack of playmakers, I was talking about that. That's what everybody's fighting for, right? Is Brogdon, Warren, and LeVert. And just to separate it, your hope is that LeVert becomes the best playmaker on your team.
Correct.
When you dealt for him. So I'm probably being unfair there when I say that Duarte is one of your best on the roster, albeit he's had a nice start. When LeVert comes back, you're hopeful that he is going to fill that role and is able to win those one-on-one matchups and make plays for you late. However, like you mentioned, you can't count on the health of this team in its entirety, and 5 games in, not a strong enough sample size for me to feel confident in the postseason necessarily.
And, I go back to that earlier point, Jimmy, about late games. The Pacers have not had and don't have the best guard wing on the floor. Can LeVert be that? I think that is a question. And we'll see when he makes his debut. He did not play last night. It sounds like he could make that soon. Let's mention Isaiah Jackson. Got hurt late, the rookie out of Kentucky. That did not look great at all a left knee injury with him. Again, we'll have to wait and see on the severity with that. I'm watching that game last night, and it's another reminder of I don't know in what universe Kevin Pritchard thought TJ Leaf was the better draft pick in OG Anunoby. I mean, what the hell are we doing?
What the hell were you thinking?
Well, you could throw the Marshawn Lynch clip on that, Mark. I mean, seriously, it's like you could take OG Anunoby's right hand away and have him only play defense, and he'd be a better pick than TJ Leaf. You could literally tell OG Anunoby not to run back across midcourt, and he could only play offense, and he'd be a better pick than TJ Leaf.
I mean, I told you this off air. Shout-outs to Al and Tony, two of my cousins. They left our draft party when TJ Leaf was drafted because they were
Al
fearful.
and Tony sounds like the lead of an Italian
right,
mafia.
It does, yeah.
What the
Exactly.
Seriously. I know draft pick hindsight is 2020, Jimmy, but like you just said, on draft night, we knew this.
Yeah.
Like, OG Anunoby had potential. Yes, he was coming off the ACL, but, like, you weren't like, okay, it's not like the Pacers needed TJ Leaf to come in and play minutes right away for you.
There's 10 guys after Leaf that I would have rather had than Leaf. Truthfully.
Hell, you could probably add some more names. Wasn't John Collins the pick after him?
He was. I know some people don't like him, but, I mean, Kuzma was in that mix a couple picks afterwards as well. Josh Hart. Jordan Bell.
22 turnovers last night for the Pacers, 7 in the third quarter there. And again, Sabonis, 4 field goal attempts. He had 3 shots in the first 5 minutes of the game.
And I saw the fourth one. It was a missed bunny in the third quarter because I tweeted about it. He had an open layup, and he missed it. And then he got beat on the other end. It was a quicker matchup. I can't remember if it was Van Fleet or who it was, but blew right by him, put the layup in.
That's wild. So you said third quarter was the other
if
one?
You're saying he had 3 in the first. The other one he had was the third quarter, and it was a missed layup.
1 shot then in the final 29 minutes of the game. And it's not like he was facilitating for you, because sometimes he can do that,
right.
Whereas his shot attempts might not be too high, but, he might have 8 or 9 assists. So just a terrible performance, and then you add the injuries on top of it for the Pacers last night. Again, they fall to 1-4. Brooklyn, who has not had a very Brooklyn-like start to the season, at Brooklyn on Friday for the Pacers, and then they will see Nate Bjorkgren in that long tribute video for him on Saturday inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Already working on it. Have to recut it a little bit after last night,
I was going to say, they've asked the NBA.
Poor interns.
They've asked the NBA to start the game later, because the tribute video is going to take.
They're asking fans to get there early.
So long, exactly. Astros win last night, so my Astros in 5 pick is still on life support, but luckily it is actually alive. 7-2, just kind of small ball action last night for the Astros. I'm still waiting selfishly for some late inning drama. I know Brennan King's been in that chair, Jimmy, for the last couple of days, and he's adamant this series is going to go 7. Selfishly, I would like a little bit of, hey, let's get the 7th, 8th, or 9th. If I'm going to stay up and watch this, can we get a little late inning drama here?
I don't want 7 for the sake of 7. And when I say that, I mean exactly what you're pointing to. If it's just a bunch of, 7-2 here, 6-2 there, 8-3 there. No, I don't want that. I want a little bit of feeling like it means something on the line. Like you mentioned, in these late innings, not getting that yet. I don't want to see 7 as just blowouts one way or the other.
Yeah, I know. We want greed.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're hoping for. A very good injury report. I can't even say because I'm so shocked by it. A very good injury report from Wednesday for the Colts. Honestly, it's probably the first time all year they've looked that good on the injury report, and their opponent has looked not as good. So we'll hit on that as well. Again, DeForest Buckner is going to join us here in less than an hour, 8 o'clock for him. When you go back to that first matchup with Tennessee, I think there is reason for some optimism offensively from what you saw in that game. Defensively, I think, is where I'm a little bit more torn. And how about this? Have you seen the Colts are now the favorite?
I did see that yesterday, yeah. Is it a point?
They are now a 1-point favorite in this matchup, so we'll see if Vegas is right on that.
That's wild to me, by the way. Not the way the Colts have been playing, but like, you're the Titans. You go and
you're the hottest AFC team by far.
Yeah, you take care of Buffalo with a late stand 2 weeks ago. You murder and then bring them back to life, and then murder again my Chiefs over the weekend. And now you're going up against the Colts, who most of their wins are against bad teams, and you're 1-point underdogs. You don't see Vegas reward things like that very often. I'm very surprised by that one.
Yeah, same. And I'm glad you brought up the whole you've beaten bad teams. We talked about this with Baltimore a few weeks back. What is the next step for this Colts team? I don't call San Francisco, Miami, or Houston, like in that category. That's just mean to the 49ers. But they aren't like, are they average?
Who, the Niners?
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're going to rank these teams, like Miami and Houston just flat out stink.
Right.
I think San Francisco is like in between stink and average. I mean, but now it's like, all right, you have got to start to beat these teams. And some of the numbers, and we'll get into this a little bit later, are pretty jarring on the lack of upper echelon teams the Colts have beaten in the last year or so. So we'll hit on that.
They're a couple runs below the Colts, right? I mean, that's going into that game.
I think at least a rung.
Right. And after the game, yes, definitely a rung or two. But going into that, I mean, the talk was on both sides. If you want any shot of the postseason, this is a must-win for you. And like that was the narrative coming out of San Francisco and from Indianapolis, albeit the Niners are dealing with a ton of injuries, so they're definitely not as good as their rosters, or they're better than the roster shows, given where the injury report's at. But yeah, I'd say they're not bad, but they're not a playoff team.
No, I could not agree with that more. Q says if becoming more athletic is what the Pacers want to do, re-signing Brogdon and McConnell's doing the opposite. Boy, I don't disagree with that at all.
I envision a Brogdon is traded to somebody, not this year, but like because he can't be.
Yeah,
but I see that. I see that bottom line somewhere in the future. I just don't know.
As much as I want that to happen, I don't see that happening, to be honest with you, and at least not with this management running the show. At the J Cook on Twitter, at KBowen 1070 on Twitter. You're listening to the Fan Morning Show right here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Quiet Moments with Dan Dockich.
Yeah, baby, you know that I love when the Colts win. I told you that was the swing game. The swing game now becomes the opportunity game. It becomes the opportunity game. Now you got a chance, and that opportunity is named the Titans.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off select tires now through October 31st. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Colts are back home again. Make sure you're at the only Colts VIP tailgate, BullseyeEventGroup.com. The only place to be before the Colts battle the Titans. BullseyeEventGroup.com now for your tailgate tickets.
Our first plan to spice up the NFL season was to add man-eating tigers to the game. We lost a lot of great players that day, and that was my bad. Now I'm bringing you the Caesars Sportsbook app. It's got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesars rewards, people. It's even better than Tiger Ball.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Ryan Kelly is the home loan expert. He's my expert also. I called Ryan several years ago, and we've done a couple of refinances together and even discussed a third before we decided it wouldn't be beneficial at this time. And Ryan, when people call 317-550-1515 or go to thehomeloanexpert.com, I want to tell them not many people in your line of work would be honest enough to advise the customer against a refinance. And you've actually had to do that with some customers that call in.
Absolutely. We're known for that. In fact, we are different than these other mortgage companies. We sit down and we go through your current loan options line by line. So where you are today with your current loan and what a new loan could do for you. Lowering the rate, saving the money, all of that. Then we review the loan amounts, the costs, everything that's involved. And at the end of the discussion, the borrower makes the decision. Is this the right move or not? And I can tell you, when we tell people you're in the best loan you can be in right now, don't refinance, they refer like crazy. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. Thanks, Big Joe.
Fall in Indy. And for 20 years, Rhino Shield's been covering Indiana homes like your neighbor Elsie.
My husband he had been reading about Rhino Shield. We were just impressed.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
And we hit our all the trim and everything done. And they even did the ceiling of our front porch.
Indianapolis fall just got better. Celebrate Rhino Shield covering Indiana homes for 20 years for 20% off the regular price.
Oh my, it looked brand new. Saves us painting, and we get compliments even today about how nice it looks and everything.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
Are you one of the millions of homeowners who haven't refinanced yet? If so, I'm here to tell you it's not too late. Hi, I'm Wesley Hogan with Westland Financial. Although the lowest rates may be in our rearview mirror, as the economy recovers from the biggest economic shock of our lifetime, rates still remain near historic lows. In fact, with the dramatic increase in home values, this may be the perfect time to put that new home equity to work. Take advantage of our cash out refi program and pay off high-rate credit cards, car loans, or other high-interest rate debt. Or finally make those home improvements you put on hold for so long. Best of all, we can do this with no closing costs. That's right, whether it's a conventional, FHA, or VA loan, we'll pay for your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Sign up today at BetMGM and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. The King of Sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either Green Bay or Arizona, and if either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code, and it's the FAN200, all one word, when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy football like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use that bonus code. Again, it's the FAN200, all one word, the FAN200. Again, that's all one word, to win $200 in free bets if either Green Bay or Arizona scores a touchdown. Nothing beats a W at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Indiana only, must be 21 or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
All right, we've got breaking news. The Colts had a good injury report on Wednesday. It was just a walkthrough, but no T.Y. Hilton, no Xavier Rhodes. Now, again, those are veterans. It's a Wednesday. Obviously, Rhodes got banged up in pregame warm-up, still gutted it out. Hilton, remember, Frank Reich said earlier in the week, very optimistic on him playing. The great news is this. Braden Smith, back to practice. Darius Leonard is off the injury report, so that is really good to see with him. Kamoko Ture, Rock Yassin, Jordan Wilkins all would have participated as well. For the Titans, they have Taylor Lewan back, their left tackle, but they had a handful of starters out. So Jimmy Cook, all in all, that's pretty good. I hate to jump too far ahead. You could have every starter out there minus Julian Blackmon, Paris Campbell on Sunday.
Well, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks, right, KB? The playoff hopes have been on life support at times. The Colts have won the games they absolutely had to win, and now in another must-win game to get a game up in the loss column on the Titans, you're getting right back to full strength at just the right time. I love it.
You know, I asked Frank Reich on Monday what went into Jonathan Taylor not finishing the game for you at running back. He said coach's decision. Then he threw in the JT felt a little something, but we don't think it's serious. He is on the injury report with a rib injury. He was listed as limited yesterday, so don't think that's obviously going to hinder him playing on Sunday, but that is something to keep an eye on.
Do you think Coach Reich is aware that when he uses vague phrasing that it causes just a smatter of panic amongst the fan base?
I don't think, unfortunately, he is aware of that because he does frequently use a lot of vague language there, but a little clarity with the injury report. It is the top 2 rushers in the NFL on Sunday. It's not a matchup. I think it's the first time you've seen that this late in the season in like a decade. So you typically do not see such a matchup, but that's the case here with Derrick Henry.
Return to the running back.
Jonathan Taylor, exactly. Running game is not dead in the NFL. Colts -1 for this week.
Wild
matchup. All right, last night we mentioned it briefly. The World Series Game 2, 7-2. The Astros even the series. Small ball in the second inning. 4 runs, 5 hits. I don't think any of those hits got off the ground. But yet the Astros are able to build a 5-1 lead and hold on from there.
I'm not cheering for the Astros, but I'm cheering for my lone bet of success last night, or one of my lone bet of success. I took the Astros as well on the run line. But Jose Altuve getting that RBI. You're welcome. That's plus 200 last night, Wolf.
I needed that in Game 1. I stayed away from it in Game 2. That was not smart by me. Yeah,
Altuve. You have been 5 and you're staying away from. I mean, he's had his struggles. I understand it, but
I thought facing Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. Blah blah blah. Game 3 will be Friday now in that series. So shifts to Atlanta Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those ticket prices in Atlanta are absolutely outrageous. So Braves fans certainly looking forward to that. Rick Carlisle, happy 62nd birthday. This is how your team delivers for you last night. 118-100. Carlisle after the game on what went wrong.
We were just we were a step slow all night. They were very aggressive. They were up and into us. I mean, we only got 3 out of 12 loose balls in the game, and that's been the number one indicator of our success and lack of success in the first 5 games.
You're laughing.
Yeah, Mark, will you isolate the KB happy birthday there and just play that whenever it's anybody's birthday from here on out?
I'll do that.
That was the most disgruntled and angry happy birthday.
Well, they got killed. I mean, it's not, Rosie Bowen's happy birthday. I mean, hell.
Where's the confetti, KB? You're only 62 once.
That's one way to look at it. That is a non-starter for me, Jimmy Cook. 12 loose balls. They only get 3 of them. This Pacers team is not talented enough nor healthy enough to have that be the case night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, 50-50 balls, offensive rebounds, you name it, just from the effort department, Pacers getting outplayed left and right. I understand they're not a fully healthy team, and if you're a diehard Pacers fan, that's what you're hanging your hat on right now, is hoping that once they get to full strength, they'll be there. But new injuries added up now with Malcolm Brogdon all sitting hurt last night. I'm not saying that's going to be necessarily long-term, but there's no guarantee you see a fully healthy Pacers roster this year, or whenever it happens, it might be too late in the postseason hunt.
Exactly. Zero guarantee there. You're going to be well behind the 8 ball if this November schedule turns out to be as difficult as it looks. Like Jimmy said, Malcolm Brogdon exited in the 3rd quarter with a left hamstring injury. He missed about 10 games late last season with a right hamstring injury. Isaiah Jackson, that injury did not look good in the 4th quarter. Unfortunately, the rookie getting his first major run of the season, and he suffered a left knee injury. We'll see the update on that. Fred VanVleet had 26, OG Anunoby 25 against the Pacers. All right, Thursday Night Football tonight. The Packers have, who do we say? They have Jordy Nelson at wideout. Antonio Freeman, I believe, is playing wideout for them.
Donald Driver making a return.
Donald Driver making a return. Devontae Adams, no. Alan Lazard, no. Both on the COVID list. The Packers are 6-0 without Adams the last 2 seasons. The line right now, -6 for the Cardinals. But J.J. Watt will not play in this game, and it sounds like his season could be over. Some reports late last night from the NFL bigwig media people saying he could have shoulder surgery and be done for the year. Jay Cook, your thoughts on a juicy Thursday night matchup?
I mean, every time I feel like we're about to turn the corner and get an exciting Thursday night matchup, it is met with like just a cloak of darkness. We're losing wide receivers left and right for the Green Bay Packers. I know we're joking about Donald Driver and company coming out and making a return trip for the Packers, but if anybody's going to make mediocre receivers good, it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm hopeful this still lives up to the hype. I think the Cardinals get it done, though.
Packers suck.
I am so enamored with Aaron Rodgers and obsessed with them. I have to take the Packers with those points.
Get out right now.
I'm sorry,
Leave.
Mark. I just do. I think he's incredible, and I don't care what the whiteout situation looks like. If I'm getting 6 points with Aaron Rodgers, I feel good about that. Over under 50 on that one.
Oh, yeah, you can take it.
Show bet? You want to? I'll take the Cardinals. You take the Packers.
Oh, wait, spread or straight up?
I'll take the spread.
Okay, is it 6 even? Is it 6.5? Okay. Yeah, 100%.
By the way, I don't know if there was big pomp and circumstance about this when it happened, but I don't know if you announced on the show or not. Probably not. She had other important things to talk about, but I did finally pay KB. All right, I'm sorry. It was in my fridge for a couple weeks. I just kept forgetting, but I made on my word. The debt has been paid.
Right, a man of his word. 45 days later, Jimmy Cook.
You're on Mike Wells' timeline at that point.
Literally. You know, honestly, that's probably why your Chiefs are with the record that they have right now.
I know.
Chiefs and Giants, Monday Night Football there. Talk about a must-win.
You want the points?
Right now. Well, let me take a look at that.
Right.
Someone tweeted at me yesterday, the Colts have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Chiefs, like Vegas-wise right now?
Yeah, I do. And
is that just like AFC South versus AFC West?
It's probably that because the 5-2 and 3-4 right now, where the Chiefs are and where the Chargers are.
Colts.
Right. I think it's probably strength of schedule, too. The Chiefs have, I believe, the hardest strength of schedule the rest of the way. Cowboys, Packers, Chargers still to go. So to play the Raiders and Broncos twice. I don't think the Raiders are for real, by the way. I think the Chiefs sweep both those. I know it's shocking given the way they've played, but yeah, I don't buy into Las Vegas.
When we come back here on the Fan Morning Show, that's what I want to get into a little bit there. Looking at this Colts schedule coming up, what that record needs to be, and just the next step for this team, and a little bit of optimism, I think, when you look back at the first meeting with the Titans and just how limited Carson Wentz was in that matchup. And Brett Rump, one of our ESPN affiliate hosts in Fort Wayne, I love going on his show, he points out that Colts line is growing. It's at -2, I think, on some sites as well. So that is interesting to know. DeForest Buckner going to join us in less than a half hour here. Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen and Jimmy Cook.
The Pacers are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Tomorrow night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
A gift of fine jewelry holds so much meaning. It can really mark a moment. That's why I love being a jewelry consultant at Shane Company. I get so much joy helping our customers find something special for the people they love. Like the customer in the military who wanted to propose to his girlfriend before he was deployed. We rushed to get the engagement ring ready for him, and he was overwhelmed with gratitude. Or the customer who survived cancer. The whole time she was in treatment, her grown daughter was by her side, taking care of her. She told us her daughter had a heart of gold, and to show her appreciation, she gave her a 14-karat gold heart necklace. Another customer came in to get his wife a gift to celebrate their growing family. They were adopting a baby. He picked out a beautiful necklace with the child's birthstone. It's precious moments like these that make my job so meaningful.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Get ready for the cool weather right now at Payless Liquors. They've got beer, wine, and spirits on sale. Bud Light 15-pack aluminums are only $15.99, and Founders 15-packs are only $14.99. You can get Oyster Bay for $9.99 a bottle, or Behringer White Zim for an amazing $2.99 a bottle. And if you're looking for the half gallons, Dewar's White Label is only $29.99, and Jim Beam White Label $26.99 at all 26 Payless Liquor locations. Open 7 days a week and online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
Calling all auto techs, detailers, painters, body shop, lot attendants, and other auto specialists, and just awesome people everywhere. Carvana, the company that invented the new way to buy a car, is having a hiring event at their inspection center in Indianapolis. Grow on the go with one of the fastest growing companies in America. Carvana has open roles for all levels of experience, even no experience. Openings include automotive techs, auto body and paint professionals, detailers, and inventory associates. With competitive pay, on-the-job training, company-paid certifications, positions and a sign-on bonus for qualified roles. Get a great job on day one with the opportunity for a Carvana career. You'll also get health insurance. Carvana pays 100% of the premium for its employees. How about extra pay and a 4-day work week for second shift? Grow your career with stability. Come to Carvana's hiring event. You know, the one that's at Carvana's Inspection Center in Indianapolis. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. November 10th and 11th. Located at 6508 West F.W. Marks Drive, Greenfield. Sign up at CarvanaJobsIndy.com. Carvana is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Dan Dockich, and you've heard me talk about how awesome Indiana Grand Racing and Casino is. Well, Saturday, October 30th, is Champions Day at the track with more than $1 million in total purse money on the line. When the first post time starts at noon, I'll be live on site with a special edition of the Dan Dockich Show. In addition to 9 stakes races featuring the state's top thoroughbreds and quarter horses, Champions Day at Indiana Grand will have a cigar rolling station with freebies for the first 200 people, 5 $1,000 mega bet drawings, merchandise giveaways, strolling entertainment, and live DJs, 3 $10,000 family leisure shopping spree drawings, and even a Headless Horseman appearance. All ages welcome, plus admission and parking are free. Racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating indoors or out. Bottom line, this is one you don't want to miss. It's Champions Day Saturday, October 30th at Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Join me at noon.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/Peaks-Club. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Of course, she needs a college education, but I don't want her buried in student loans for the rest of her life.
It starts here.
She needs a school with great resources, but some of these campuses are so big.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI has the resources of a big university on a campus with a hometown feel. It's a more affordable option with access to career paths in Indy's world-class healthcare and sports entertainment hospitality organizations.
At those big schools, I'm worried she'll just be a number.
Hey, it starts here.
Hey, why not IUPUI?
That's what I was thinking.
The need for healthcare workers is growing, and a health sciences degree prepares students for growing careers as physician's assistant or for pre-med and pre-PT and OT programs. Partnerships at Indy hospitals and research facilities provide hands-on learning opportunities.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI. It starts here. Learn more at shhs.iupui.edu.
The holidays are doubly important this year, so make your celebrations doubly special. At Kroger, we've got a huge selection of high-quality meats on top of fresh, natural produce, like fresh, never-frozen prime-grade beef and our Simple Truth organic Brussels sprouts, or delicious king crab legs with our private selection gourmet potatoes. Whew, had to say that doubly fast. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
We're hiring for immediate openings with next-day pay, benefits, and great perks. Apply today at jobs.kroger.com.
Hey, it's JMV. The Colts are back to battle the Titans, and so is the only Colts VIP tailgate. That's BullseyeEventGroup.com. You need tickets to the VIP tailgate with all you could eat, a drink, and entertainment 3 hours prior to the game. BullseyeEventGroup.com. You need tickets to watch the Colts and the Titans. BullseyeEventGroup.com. The best way to spend your day is to combo up a tailgate and those Colts tickets with BullseyeEventGroup.com. The Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. It's BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Yeah. You know what? I like the players.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
DeForest Buckner in about 20 minutes here on the Fan Morning Show. We've got the Jay Cook dropping his keyboard to the beat right here on the Fan Morning Show.
No diggity, no doubt, KP. Come on.
Boy, that sounded like Mike Tomlin saying no to the USC job.
Right
there. That was good by you. At the Jay Cook on Twitter. We've got the Colts at 3-4 right now. We were talking last week, Jimmy, on the show before that 49ers game. I kept on going back to how do you get to 10-7? That was kind of my thinking of, all right, get to 10-7, see what happens. At that point, you were 2-4, so that's an 8-3 finish. When you look at the rest of the schedule, there's 3 games that I put in a top tier category of difficult to get. In about a month, you have back-to-back games in Buffalo and home to Tampa Bay. Tough. Christmas, you've got the Cardinals. I think those 3, very difficult to get. If you lose those 3 and you want to get to 10-7, that means you got to win all the others. And I look at Sunday, I look at maybe the Raiders, the second to last game of the season. I know you're not super high on the Raiders, but still, they're going to be playing for something at that point in the season. Now that game is here at Lucas Oil. These are the coin flip type games, and right now, as we've said, boy, this line has really changed. I don't know if Vegas thinks Tennessee's got some big injury or what, but with the Colts now favored in this one, God, you got to have it on so many levels. And honestly, is 10-7 enough?
No,
because that means Tennessee goes 5-5 the rest of the way.
Yeah, 10-7 could get you there
through the wild card or the division.
Through the division.
You think Tennessee goes 5-5 the rest of the way? They've got the 3rd easiest schedule in the NFL the rest of the way.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't get you there, then you're not making the playoffs, right? I mean, I don't.
You don't think 10-7 gets you the 3rd wild card? I mean, I know that's a record right now.
It is.
Would you sign up for 10-7 if you're the Chiefs? God, what a crazy thing to say.
Still might. I know it is. I think they still might miss out if they go 10-7. I don't know. Look, I will say, a couple weeks ago, I thought the wild card in general for a lot of teams was going to be a 4 to 5 loss area. That's kind of gotten a little murkier now. So maybe 10-7 does still get you there.
I think it hovers right around 6 or 7 losses.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess if you're Kansas City or if you're Indianapolis, 10-7 should probably get you there. But so they would need to go to get 10-7. The Colts would need to go 7-3 the rest of the way,
right?
And that's including this Sunday. Yes,
correct. 7-3.
Yeah,
and remember, you have those 3 really tough ones: Buffalo, Tampa, and Arizona. So I just think it's very difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's extremely difficult to make the playoffs without a win on Sunday.
Yeah,
I obviously your opponent speaks to that because it is the team that's leading the division, and you already lost the first game, first matchup against them. But almost like Jimmy, insert any opponent there, and I probably would say something similar.
I don't see it, man. I don't. I had him going.
You don't see him winning on Sunday.
I don't see him winning on Sunday. I'm not saying like they can't win on Sunday. I'm leaning towards the Titans right now, and I'm baffled by the only thing I can think of is the Titans injuries as to why the Vegas line is shifting that and the fact that the Colts are home. Because it opened, what did it open at? Was it minus?
Colts are minus 2.5 to start. Then it swung to the Titans were like 1.5 favorites, and now it's back.
So the Titans have never been favored by more than half a point. Is what you're telling me?
Maybe a point. Maybe.
There's a path to victory for the Colts on Sunday. I'm not saying that. It's hard not to pick a team that just dismantled. They didn't fully dismantle Buffalo, but they did a pretty good job against Buffalo and then dismantled Kansas City. I get it. Well, are the Chiefs really that good? It's tough to say. They're definitely a lot worse off than I thought they'd be at this point. However, my major point is that even if you give the Colts wins in every game they should win on the schedule, that is the Jets, the Jags, Texans. I'm going to give them the Patriots.
That could be a sneaky game.
Yes.
Inside of Lucas Oil Stadium.
And I'm going to give them the Jags
Raiders
again and the Raiders. So that is what? I'm not going to try to count all this out.
I believe that's 6 wins.
So that's 6 wins in that stretch. So that would put them at
9.
9 total. And then you lose the other one. That's 9-5, 9-6, 9-7, 9-8.
9-7 depending on what you do
right.
Sunday.
9-7 going to so.
Sunday to you is that swing game between 9-8, 10-7. I mean, that's just...
This is legitimately it to me. They have not... I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not fully drinking the Colts Kool-Aid off of wins over Miami, Houston, and the 49ers. You lose on Sunday, I have no confidence that you can win any of the major games, like the must-haves. You know how you go through your schedule in May or whatever, you're like, all right, these are games they are definitely going to win. These are games they should win. These are games they won't win, but if they start losing some of the should wins, you're going to have to steal from the won't win pile. They can't beat Tennessee. I don't see them stealing from the won't win pile. That is Buffalo, that is Tampa Bay, that is Arizona, that is even Las Vegas the rest of the way. I don't see it.
He's Jimmy Cook, and I'm glad you brought that up. Jimmy, the Colts have lost 7 straight games to playoff teams. If you look at the teams they've beaten during that span, here are the records of those teams that they've beaten during that span, okay? Again, 7 straight. That dates back to, I believe, the Tennessee matchup last year here at Lucas Oil, a big COVID game for the Colts, and they really got blown out of their own building. The records of those teams that they have beaten during that stretch: 1-6, 1-6, 2-4, 4-12, 1-15, 4-12, 8-8.
That's a murderer's row.
The 8-8 team was the Raiders last December. They ended up being 500. So that record is 21-63 if you combine those teams of the last 7 wins for the Colts. Yes, there's an element of you have to beat who's on your schedule.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Without a doubt, and you benefit from playing the AFC South. But like you just alluded to, if you want January to happen, you've got to start beating better football teams, and Sunday is one of those teams.
Yeah, and I mean, you just look at what happens if you do lose this game just from a divisional standpoint. Then you're going to be now 3 back on the loss side. You mentioned how easy Tennessee's schedule is the rest of the way. I mean,
Tennessee does go to L.A. to face the Rams Sunday Night Football next week, but then after that, they're probably favored in every game the rest of the year.
And then you got to hope the Colts start stealing. You got to root for bad teams to pull off upsets against Tennessee. And yes, I mean, there was, while I wasn't reevaluating my life on Sunday, there were Titans dropping like flies left and right. And yes, their injury report reflects that. I mean, I'm
really banged up in the secondary, especially.
In particular.
I think it's something to note as well when you look at the schedule. It's like the Colts, and to throw like an NCAA tournament analogy into it, the Colts have beaten play-in opponents. They've beaten maybe a double-digit seed in the opening round. Now it's, if you want to get to the Sweet 16, you've got to beat a seed higher than you, better than you. You've got to pull off that quote-unquote upset. Now, it's not an upset in Vegas right now, but it's just beating an opponent that you have not beaten in quite some time. I would say one reason for optimism that goes against what you were saying, Jimmy, about the Colts in this matchup on Sunday. You look back at the first meeting, and Carson Wentz, I asked him yesterday, I'm like, when you go back and look at the film of that first matchup, how limited were you? And he used the phrase, like, I was stuck in mud. If you look at the first meeting, the Colts lose 25-16, and you boil it down to kind of one area of the field where the Colts lost that game, it was how horrific they were in goal-to-go situations. The threat of Carson Wentz's legs, mobility, we saw it Sunday night. He is a much, much healthier quarterback. They squandered both of their goal-to-go situations, did not convert. And that, arguably, if you want to boil it down to one stat, that's the difference in the game. And now Wentz is healthy. So that is a huge reason why Colts fans should feel more optimistic about this offense based off the first matchup. The one counter I would have is Tennessee moved the ball pretty much the entire game against you, and I don't think Julio Jones or A.J. Brown did anything in the second half.
I want the city of Indianapolis to do well. I understand that I don't actively root for the Colts, but I have plenty of family members that are Colts fans. I do. I want to see the best out of them on a weekly basis. Here is the other caveat with the Colts and their wins coming against not great teams. Against the bad teams, you could find plenty of excuses to say, well, it's not Wentz's fault, and that's fair. And in the wins, there's nothing to point to say that's Wentz's fault. He's yet to really be tested this year. Truly be tested. And you could make the argument he wasn't fully healthy for a stretch, and now he's there.
Like from a defense, he's yet to be tested?
Yes. From a I'm worried about how Wentz is going to do in this matchup moment outside of maybe the Ravens. And again, we know how that went in the second half. I know it's probably not fair fully to Wentz because that was a collapse all across the board. My point is, though, is that you look at a defensive mind like Mike Vrabel, and I know that they are banged up in the secondary, so maybe this won't matter, but I'm interested to see how he games plans for Wentz and how Wentz responds to it this week.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee's defense is any good.
No.
But I think the next thing for Wentz, I guess, is just like the magnitude of this game. Like
Right.
this is a bigger game. I will give Wentz credit, and some of this was self-inflicted on Sunday. There was a lot of adversity in about the first quarter of that game, and again, Wentz added to that, and he reacted really well to it. Sure. So that is a positive step, but I agree with you in terms of just Wentz barely has played in the playoffs in his NFL career. So when you talk about important games for him, boy, this has got to be really, really high.
Every game is
on that.
Every game here on out for him, and this team is a playoff game. And if you lose on Sunday, then you're going to need him to step up against somebody like Tampa Bay. And I do not know that he's capable of that. I don't.
And need help.
Yeah.
Mark Dykton, I got a No Time Fan Morning Show.
All right, boys. Have your expectations for the Pacers changed already this early into the season?
You know, I had him 8 seed, I believe, at the start of the year. I've been very vocal about running it back. Was a big mistake. Right now, if you got to the play-in game and you won a game like you did last year with Nate Bjorkgren, would that be considered a success?
No.
They're not carrying Coach Carlisle off the court after a play-in game win?
My expectations have not changed from that, but I feel more confident in saying they're going to miss the playoffs than make the playoffs.
It's a bad loss last night, man. That's so bad.
I was talking about with J&V yesterday. I'm like, we don't call October 27th must-wins, but hell, you look at the schedule coming up, and
yeah, I had them fringe playoffs going in as well, and you can come back from holes, sure. It's 1-4. I'm not saying everybody pack it in and go start looking for a Premier League team to root for or anything like that.
Well, what if Brogdon's out for 3 weeks like he was last year with that hamstring injury?
Duarte's at least fun enough to keep you interested if you're a Pacers fan, but in terms of playoff hopes, if you add Brogdon to the list and he's out for a long-term period of time, my hopes of fringe playoffs go to, college basketball's almost here. How's that? How's the lottery look? What are we doing there?
Yeah, not great. I had them as a 9 seed ahead of the season, so I'm not changing just yet. But they are the 14th seed team at the moment in the Eastern Conference.
What does the 14th seed team do? What are they?
They pray the lottery balls bounce their way. Which honestly might be the best thing.
They go on coffee runs for the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Today, or this week, is the 20th anniversary of the original iPod, the device that changes the way that we listen to music. Do you remember the first song you ever downloaded on your iPod, or if your parents didn't love you, your Zune?
Nice.
Yeah, it would probably be a little YouTube to MP3 converter. That was the route that I would kind of go to try and illegally put songs on there. And I'm going to go with my favorite song, which is Eminem, Lose Yourself.
I was not. I don't remember if it wasn't allowed or just wasn't on my Christmas list. I was too young initially for the original iPod. The first one I was entrusted with to be responsible was the Nano. Yeah, it was the Nano Life. What'd you say? What song?
Lose Yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, probably. I mean, that was one of the commercials, right? Like, that was the main, you look at all those Apple plus iTunes ads from back in the early 2000s. That was it. It was a silhouette of somebody dancing to some Eminem and rolling with it. So, yeah, I'd say maybe Hey Ya by Outkast, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Mark?
I want to say I got one, and I don't think I downloaded it in any particular order. Like, Lose Yourself would have probably been on there. But, I think I don't know why this is ingrained in my mind, but I remember downloading Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Nice.
Oh, wow. Jeez. You got a little old soul.
Yeah. So that one was on there, and I think I threw that one on there, and it was like some Blur. And
I remember having LimeWire.
R.I.P. LimeWire. That's what I was going to say.
I had some LimeWire.
God, my computers probably had so many viruses on them from that stuff.
Like, it just blow up on me already.
You were hurting the music industry. How dare you?
I know. Lars Ulrich was very mad at me. In the next 3 years, will the Combine be in a different location? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but what are your thoughts?
It will, and it shouldn't. We know how the NFL operates. Greed. The owners will get their way, and they will move it as much as it shouldn't be moved.
Yeah, it shouldn't be moved. I mean, I slightly get the greed to a degree. It's February. What's an NFL exec want to do? Sure, they want to be out near the coast, but at the same time, it's such a well-run event.
But that's not what the
here.
event is supposed to be.
I understand that.
The event is about acquiring information to hire people for your franchise.
Agreed. Again, I'm not saying I agree with the move. I'm just saying, does the greed surprise you? No, it doesn't surprise you that they want to go out west. But the way it was run, the ease of access to everything. That's a great thing about this city. Whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's the Combine, whether it's the Final Fours, whether it's the college football playoff here in a couple months, everything is so well structured where you don't have to worry about dealing with LA traffic left and right, you know? It's not. You don't have to worry about it.
All right, that's it, boys. Let's get to DeForest Buckner.
With number 99 for the Indianapolis Colts, he's going to join myself, Kevin Bowen, and Jimmy Cook when we come back here on the Fan Morning Show.
The Ride with JMV.
Darius Leonard has been outstanding. The whole punch-out thing, it is becoming a thing. If you hang around for a minute, he's going to make something happen in the turnover area. Oftentimes you get caught up in wanting to be highly critical of somebody that just got paid to be able to play through it and still make plays. And he has done that to this point, and he did it again last night.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
JMV for the 14 Central Indiana CarX locations and the great deals like lifetime brakes right now, just $109.99 per axle. Check them out online for the location nearest you, CarX.com. It's JMV and the NFL season is approaching the halfway point, and FanDuel Sportsbook has a little something different to offer for the Sunday night matchup between Dallas and Minnesota, because FanDuel is giving new customers 25-1 odds on any touchdown scored in the game. That means you can end the NFL Sunday right by winning $125 on a $5 bet. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, and this is going to be a fantastic matchup where you can take full advantage using that promo code JMV. Again, FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code JMV. You could win $125 on a $5 bet. That promo code is JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. New users only $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $125. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Golf Performance Academy at Golf Club of Indiana's 6,000 square foot indoor-outdoor golf facility is geared toward lessons, club fitting, practice of the full swing, and putting. Each hitting bay offers flight scope technology to track each shot and provide feedback. With 8 large screen TVs, full beverage service, free Wi-Fi, and a conference room, they can provide opportunities for social and corporate functions. The Golf Performance Academy, the only facility of its kind in the state, even in the country. Call 769-3482 for more.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
Calling all auto techs, detailers, painters, body shop, lot attendants, and other auto specialists, and just awesome people everywhere. Carvana, the company that invented the new way to buy a car, is having a hiring event at their inspection center in Indianapolis. Grow on the go with one of the fastest growing companies in America. Carvana has open roles for all levels of experience, even no experience. Openings include automotive techs, auto body and paint professionals, detailers, and inventory associates. With competitive pay, on-the-job training, company-paid certifications, and a sign-on bonus for qualified roles. Get a great job on day one with the opportunity for a Carvana career. You'll also get health insurance. Carvana pays 100% of the premium for its employees. How about extra pay and a 4-day work week for second shift? Grow your career with stability. Come to Carvana's hiring event. You know, the one that's at Carvana's Inspection Center in Indianapolis. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. November 10th and 11th. Located at 6508 West FW Marks Drive, Greenfield. Sign up at CarvanaJobsIndy.com. Carvana is an equal opportunity employer.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you?
You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa. If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3 cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Listen on air, online at 1075thefan.com, and on our free app at Google Play and on the App Store. You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
DeForest Buckner are going to join us here in a few minutes. Kevin Bowen and Jimmy Cook on The Fan Morning Show. I don't know how much you remembered this during the game itself, Jimmy. You probably were too enamored with that Chiefs comeback, but you go back and watch that Super Bowl between the Chiefs and 49ers. And obviously, they aren't giving MVP votes to a defensive tackle. But if the 49ers win that game, you could easily make the argument the best player on the field that night was DeForest Buckner.
Oh, yeah. He was a beast. I mean, that entire defense was... And I don't know. Maybe because I was riding the high of the Chiefs' run to that game. I was like, all right, that's cool. They got a good defense, fine. But the offense will work out in the end. And I was almost wrong there for a while. But yeah, no, I mean, you look at players that left their fingerprints all over that game. If it's not Bosa, it's Buckner, no doubt about it.
And Chris Ballard walked away from that game thinking to himself, that is the 3-technique defensive tackle that I need. And obviously it worked out that, like you said, San Francisco has Nick Bosa to pay. Eric Armstead is a guy that still is playing for them and is more of a versatile piece, I think, than Buckner. And that's why they thought that maybe their money should go to Armstead instead of Buckner. And I'm not going to pretend to know like the ins and outs of the 49ers cap situation a couple of years ago, but it is astonishing to me that given the durability of DeForest Buckner, that you would let him walk. Now, they got the 13th pick back, which is very notable, but man, like, just availability in this league means so much. Interior pressure has taken on an even bigger onus with how teams, have just want to pass the ball more and more, and you let that guy go and not somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, it worked kind of. I don't want to say it worked out for both parties. It definitely worked out for DeForest because if you pick a situation to be in right now, I mean, again, we talked about how similar postseason hopes were for both teams last week going into that matchup, but at the very least, I mean, DeForest Buckner's gotten the way better end of the deal in terms of his individual career versus what the Niners have done since then. They missed the playoffs last year. They look like they're going to miss it again this year. They've been injury riddled since then. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely worked out for him.
And the guy they drafted, 13 overall, Javon Kinlaw, defense tackle out of South Carolina, has not worked out for them. Been a little bit banged up. I think there's some debate, honestly, if he's going to play again this season. NFL trade deadline is in 5 days, Jimmy. Do you think seeing Jonathan Taylor pop up on the injury report again doesn't look like anything serious? He was limited yesterday with the ribs injury, but with Hines on the injury report as well. Do you think that all of a sudden has the Colts going to Marlon Mack and saying, hey, man, I know you want to be somewhere else, but we kind of need you for insurance right now?
So basically my saying is the idea of trading Mack changed now because of those injuries?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe from a Colts standpoint, it probably has. But again, it's hard to say this and not be disrespectful to Marlon Mack, but look at the depth chart. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm being honest. He is, not just from his injury, he's a couple steps behind Taylor, and he's fine. He's serviceable, but if you lose Jonathan Taylor, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be worrying about where the offense is going. I'm not saying Wentz can't carry you and Mack can't do a good job, but they're apples and oranges in terms of what they bring to the table. Like I guess they don't trade him, but it's like, okay, we'll keep you out this year. We're probably not going to make the playoffs now, and then you'll walk at the end of the offseason.
Patrick tweeted this, and I'm of the belief that if you are going to make a move for a position right now, it would be safety. I think your depth has been tested. I think when you look ahead with Julian Blackmon's torn Achilles, there's no guarantee he's going to start next year for you. And by start, I mean play week 1. Patrick wants to throw cornerback into that group. He goes, I think cornerback is just as important, if not more. At least one, if not all, of Rock Ya-Sin, Xavier Rhodes, and TJ Carey are constantly injured. When they're down, big problems happen. There's injuries there for sure, but still, when you start making a list, looks like Rock's back. Kenny Moore obviously is a mainstay. As much as Rhodes has been banged up, he usually plays. I don't know. I would probably go with safety before corner. All right, DeForest Buckner is going to join us here. Before we bring him on, I wanted to play his post-game speech in the locker room. This was after the win over San Francisco. Obviously, DeForest going back to the Bay Area for this one. This was DeForest Buckner after the win on Sunday night.
All I got is love for every single person in this building. I mean, from the top to bottom, you guys believed in me. Y'all thought something was special about me and brought me here. That's right. And that's all I appreciated from day one. God has a plan and a will, and he set my path through Indy.
That's some raw emotion right there from DeForest Buckner. He had a great quote that I want to ask him about last week, and basically when they made this trade, he quickly went from, I don't want to prove that the 49ers were wrong, I want to prove that the Colts were right. In giving up the 13th overall pick and $100 million, and now he's on the side of the building here at Lucas Oil Stadium. So let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline right now. Number 99 for the Indianapolis Colts, DeForest Buckner, joins us. Good morning, DeForest. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning. How we doing?
We're doing great good here. We just played your post-game speech in the locker room after the win on Sunday. Where would you kind of put your emotions at in that moment? You've played in a Super Bowl, you've played in obviously big games, but where were your emotions at Sunday night?
Yeah, it was probably one of my top 5 greatest memories in sports for sure. You know what I mean? Just obviously, I played 4 years in San Francisco, and obviously I loved it there and everything, and then I got traded and came to a great place in Indianapolis, and a couple of the guys, I know my. Especially on the D-line, the guys really wanted to get this win for me. And, we came coming out with the win, ending it with a sack. It was a great experience.
You talked last week before the game about, you've kind of changed your mindset from maybe wanting to prove the 49ers wrong to proving the Colts right. I don't know if a lot of athletes in your situation would maybe say that. Like, where does that come from? And when did that mindset change for you post-trade?
Yeah, it was really just, I grew a lot, in the past year, especially with my face, you know what I mean? And just looking at it in that aspect and not having any hard feelings or bad feelings, you know what I mean, about the trade and everything, and just really embracing, the path that, God put me on, you know what I mean? He always has a plan, and I just had to, last year, I really, I fully committed myself to Christ, and I just trusted his plan. And so that kind of changed my mindset into proving the Niners wrong, and really just embracing the fact that the Indianapolis Colts saw something in me, they saw something special in me, and they went all in on me, and I just wanted to prove them right, make sure let them know that they made the right decision and trading for me.
DeForest, it's Jimmy. When you look at careers of all NFL players, you start out in high school, and then you're recruited to college, and then you have somebody eventually either sign you or draft you, take a chance on you. Colts did a similar thing, trading for you and then extending you. Where does that relationship of knowing a team wanted to go after you, wanted to give up assets to get you, and then on top of that, wanted to pay for you to stay on their team, mean to you in the grand scheme of your career?
Yeah, it means a lot. You know what I mean? They, like I said before, they trusted, they saw, they didn't really know a lot about me, but they saw what I had put on tape, and then they asked about me, obviously, and my character and everything, and everything checked out with them, and they were willing enough to extend me. They changed my life, my family's life, and that's all you can ask for. You know what I mean? Especially in this game.
He's the All-Pro DeForest Buckner. Join us here on the Fan Morning Show. Before we kind of shift gears and look ahead to Sunday, DeForest, I do want to go back to the sack on Sunday night and the celebration afterwards. It looked like you were maybe digging something in the ground there in the Bay Area. Care to share what the celebration was?
Yeah, it's. I've been doing this. I don't know, since my second year or whatever. I'm just sweeping them off the field. I usually do it on third downs, and it was just. It was just crazy for it to be the last play of the game, and we won the game. You know what I mean? And coming full circle, doing it in the stadium that I started, doing that celebration in, and ending it there. So it was a pretty cool experience.
Sweeping them off the field. I love that.
DeForest, had you ever played in anything like that bomb cyclone you guys went through last night, earlier this week, weather-wise?
Actually, yeah, I played through I actually played something like that in college when I was in Oregon. I played against Cal. We played in the monsoon.
So that would have been the same area, obviously. Or was it in Oregon, or was it in the Bay Area?
It was in Oregon.
Gotcha. DeForest Buckner, join us here. Fan Morning Show, kind of shifting gears to Sunday. How would you describe the challenge at running back Sunday with Derrick Henry?
Yeah, he's the biggest challenge there is in the league. He's the best running back in the league. Right now, you know what I mean? He's proven it, the past couple of years. And so, we need to do a great job with obviously, putting bodies on him. You know what I mean? Coach has been harping, 11 versus 1. You know what I mean? Everybody needs to get to the bowl, knock him back, obviously tackle him low and, get a leg up. You know what I mean? A big guy like that, or anybody, you can't run without your legs. So, Coach has been harping on hamstring tackling. And, we just got to make sure we're getting his feet checked up in the backfield and, hitting them early and hitting them often.
All things considered, I thought you guys did a decent job against them back in that first matchup, and you talked yesterday about how you think your defense matches up well against them. Where does that belief come from?
Yeah, just the belief that we got the right guys in the locker room or on the defense. You know what I mean? Up front, in the secondary, the linebacker position. We got all the guys. We got the right guys with the right mindsets. You know what I mean? Every single person on our defense loves to hit. So we just need to, do a great job with our execution. Like you said, we did a pretty good job, the first game with, holding him to, he had 28 carries for 112 yards. And so far, that's the best, anybody's been doing against them. You know what I mean? So, we just need to continue to, grow and build off of what we did well in that last game and clean up the little things that we did bad.
Darius, it's rare that you see a divisional opponent this quick a turnaround this early in the season. What have you learned as a defensive unit from that loss earlier in the season to Tennessee that you expect will kind of change the way you approach things against them this time?
Yeah, it was really just execution. You know what I mean? Some key third downs and also with the rush, you know what I mean? Keeping Tannehill in the pocket. He extended some plays, with his feet. A bunch of the rushing yards or a good chunk of the rushing yards was for him scrambling. So, we just need to do a better job execution-wise on, third down.
He's DeForest Buckner on the Fan Morning Show with us, Kevin Bowen and Jimmy Cook. DeForest, in this matchup, whoever's won the second one in each of the last 4 years has gone on to make the playoffs. Last year, that was true, Tennessee winning here at Lucas Oil Stadium. You were at home, did not play in that game due to COVID. What do you remember about that experience, watching your team have to go through that last season?
Yeah, it was definitely a terrible experience. You know what I mean? I felt like I let my team down. It's doing everything that you can, obviously, not to get the virus. At the end of the day, it's a virus. You know what I'm saying? You can only control the things you can control. And unfortunately, I ended up testing positive. And, just being at home watching that game, and, I didn't have any symptoms, so I was fully able to play in the game. I just, I felt, obviously, I was helpless, obviously, just watching it at the house. So, I'm definitely looking forward to the second game at home.
Well, were you a screamer and yeller?
Oh, yeah. screaming, yelling. I mean, I almost, threw some stuff at the TV. So I mean, it was a bad experience.
Waking up your young son, man. Come on now.
Yeah, I know.
DeForest, the talk around town has been a positive injury report on the practice report early to start the week. What's it mean to get this team healthy in such a pivotal matchup on Sunday?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, we faced some adversity early on. You know what I mean? Like any other team, throughout the NFL, but we definitely faced some adversity early on. So, even going back to training camp, and so to start getting guys back, I mean, it's always a great feeling. You know what I mean? Depth wise, and obviously having some of your starters back. I mean, it's a perfect time of the year too. You know what I mean? To start getting everybody back in the middle of the season.
Just a couple more here with DeForest Buckner on the Fan Morning Show. DeForest, I know you probably don't see it necessarily clearly during the game, but when you go back and watch Darius Leonard's ability to punch the ball out, like, I'm in awe. What do you see in his ability to just have the concentration, the hand-eye coordination to execute those punch-outs?
Darius is not human. Darius is definitely not human. I mean, it's crazy the amount of times that he can get the ball out. I mean, what he has, like 3 or 4 forced fumbles this year, right. Like two picks and like 3 fumble recoveries. I mean, the guy's a ball hawk. I mean, we preach about getting takeaways, as a defense, and I mean, he's leading our defense with takeaways. So I mean, it's awesome to see, the skill that he has, the concentration that he has, and the knack that he has for the ball. I mean, he's always, when he's making a tackle, he's always punching at the ball. I mean, it's always on his mind, and that's why he's one of the best in the league at it.
Going a little off the field to wrap things up, obviously Hawaii to Oregon and the Bay Area. I don't know if that screams Midwest, but you and your family have been in Indy for now about a year and a half. Unfortunately, a lot of COVID restrictions during that time, but what have you enjoyed about Indianapolis so far, and do you guys have a favorite spot?
Yeah, I mean, we got some great neighbors. You know what I mean? That's what I really love. I mean, being out in in California, sometimes, I mean, you don't really get too close with your neighbors. So I mean, that's been really nice, and also we got to experience a little bit of around town this year. You know what I mean? And I mean, one of the spots that we like going to is I would say probably closer to us, like Ocean Prime. Okay. You know what I mean? And then also, I mean, we love St. Elmo's. Been there a couple times. And then we go Top Golf here and there.
I love it. A little Top Golf, man. Are you a golfer?
Yeah, I like golfing.
Ooh. DeForest, do you launch it?
I was going to say, you could hit that on
I do.
I-69 at the old...
Since I got into playing golf, I actually watch golf now.
I love it. DeForest Buckner, a big one on Sunday. Congrats, man, on Sunday night. I can only imagine the amount of emotion you had coming into that game, and to end it the way you did, that had to be just an incredible feeling. So congrats on that. Stay healthy, and good luck on Sunday.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
That's DeForest Buckner right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Beware cars on I-69 for DeForest Buckner dialing up from the old Top Golf.
Man, you've seen plenty of NFL players go out there and just see the viral videos where they launch it, goes all the way over the net. Yeah, I'd be worried too. I'm going to need to get some reinforced plating.
Yeah, if I'm working at Top Golf and they're like, hey, will you go pick the range? I'm saying, no, did you just see who walked in? I'm not going out there. Top 5 greatest memory for him football-wise Sunday night. I think a lot of times you see players kind of hide maybe from, it's just another game, this and that. No. And I appreciated his candidness and what Sunday meant, because he had to be stunned.
I want the honesty. I want the honesty. I want the raw emotion of it. And yeah, I mean, you're coming off of, I'd forgotten about it. Like you mentioned that. You're right. You weren't wrong to say that, oh, Jimmy, you're probably, relishing in the win. I forgot. I mean, he sacked Mahomes, I think it was 1.5 sacks in that Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, you're riding high off of that. You're like, all right, we're going to run it back the next year. We'll be back here fighting for a Super Bowl.
Young team.
Super young team. And then you get dealt. Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of emotions that DeForest was going through, and he didn't let it affect him or waver him in a way negatively. He turned it into positive motivation, and anytime you get a revenge game, I know it's overused, but it clearly was for him, and he took advantage of the moment.
I've been pretty public here over the last few weeks, and I think that Chris Ballard needs to be held more accountable for some of his moves. And really, if you look at the drafting on the defensive side of the ball, it hasn't been, I think, as good as a lot of people think that it is. But you look at Buckner, Jimmy, and the position he plays, that's Warren Sapp in the old Tampa defense. Think like that sort of spot on the defensive line. And then I know a lot of people want to just write off the character aspect. But Khari Willis last week had a quote about Buckner in that the way he leads is mostly through action. First one in the building. I know that's super cliche, but he literally is every day. But then Willis mentioned, like, when he needs to critique us, tell us something, he knows how to do it in the right manner. Like, treats these guys like professionals, but yet knows that at times you do need to be a little bit awkward in conversations or, publicly accountable with your teammates. And I thought that was a really good point by Khari Willis of just DeForest Buckner leads the right way. And that's why Chris Ballard felt like he was worthy of 13 overall.
And, I think he was right. At this point, it's hard to say he wasn't. And when you look at the defensive side of the ball for the Colts, it's 1A and 1B in my mind in terms of Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner, in terms of players that you could not afford to lose or players that are the biggest impact makers, game wreckers on your team. It's those two guys. And they're two of the top class, top shelf, best in the business.
No Buckner last year, no Jonathan Taylor last year either in that matchup with the Titans. We'll get much more into that matchup with Tennessee, and we'll get Jimmy Cook's pick here in a bit. I'm not sure if you're going to like it, but we will hear from Jimmy Cook on his pick with Colts and Titans. Right now, Colts favored by 2. That is climbing here as we talk to you on a Thursday morning. Big O Tires Sports Center update time here on The Fan.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Before we dive in, Joe to the C says he would bet that you could hit it farther than DeForest. I would like to know if you believe that.
Oh, no. No. I mean, DeForest Buckner, I've been around a decent amount of athletes in my day. I don't know if I've ever seen a more well-put-together human being. Like, he's 6'7", 300, and he would laugh at the body fat that I possess versus him.
I feel like he sees the netting that's at Top Golf, and he just thinks that's, like, optional.
Right.
Like, yeah, maybe I'll hit it over there.
So if you hit that, you get, 100 points? Okay, what if you hit beyond?
He laughs the netting.
That netting.
You think this is going to protect the cards from me?
He's like, Kevin Bowen? Have you seen the kid? Injury report, Jimmy Cook brought this up earlier. It does look pretty good for a Wednesday. No T.Y. Hilton, no Xavier Rhodes, but early in the week for a couple veterans there. Braden Smith back, Kamoko Ture back, Rock Yassin, Jordan Wilkins. Darius Leonard is off the injury report. So the Colts had a walkthrough yesterday, modified practice today. They'll go full go tomorrow to round out the week. Again, earlier, people were asking, okay, this line has changed a whole lot. Is that injury related? I guess the Colts are getting healthier, Jimmy. I don't think the Titans have all of a sudden had some huge injury pop up. Taylor Lewan's back. A.J. Brown was limited yesterday. I know Julio Jones was a DNP and their DBs are banged up, but this is not like Derrick Henry just got hurt at practice or something.
Yeah, and the line just, it continues to baffle me. Like, I understand that this is a divisional matchup. I understand the Colts are at home, but what the Titans have done over the last couple of weeks, to me at least warrants being favored, even if you're on the road.
Right guard for Sunday, still to be determined on who starts. Chris Reed played 20 snaps more than Mark Glowinski on Sunday night. Frank Reich said yesterday they will continue to rotate, but still not sure on who will start at that spot. If you look back at the first matchup, 25-16, we talked about goal to go and how a healthier Carson Wentz should help you there in finishing off drives versus that first matchup. Jimmy, the Colts were +3 in turnover margin in that game and lost. So that's where I think a little concern creeps in of just you're not necessarily going to dial up 3 turnovers again with the Tennessee offense that should have Julio and A.J. Brown for much more of the game than they did in that first meeting.
I know DeForest isn't going to give away too much of the game plan, but I still wanted to ask and just see where his mindset was. It's clear this Colts defense is aware of the things that they had mistakes on in that game, week 3, week 4 against the Titans, week 3 against the Titans. Yeah, that's tough, the turnover margin whenever you lose a game like that. I remember that being a big talking point around here was, wow, you were able to turn that offense over that many times. You still didn't come out with the W. I feel like they know the way Tannehill wants to extend plays. They understand the threat that Henry is, and they're ready for the challenge this time.
4 yards per carry for Henry in that first matchup. Again, DeForest said yesterday that he feels like they're kind of built to slow down Tennessee. I think him and Grover Stewart.
Yep.
Big reason why. Chris Ballard thinks they're the best defensive tackle tandem in the league, and Sunday is going to be just a ultimate test in that.
We should have asked DeForest about how he feels now that Derrick Henry's throwing touchdown passes, because that was a surprise.
God, it looked like Booby Miles out there on Sunday. Last night, north of the border, UGLY 118-100 Raptors over the Pacers. Out-hustled, out-effort, out-athlete, frankly. 22 turnovers for the Pacers. No answer for the Raptors' length. I don't think the Raptors are very skilled basketball-wise, to be honest with you. But, just simply outworked for loose balls. Pacers have now lost 14 straight games in that building.
That's a wild stat. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier in the show. Anytime you get into historical weeds, I tend to throw it out the door. But for whatever reason in the association, man, there are just certain arenas where teams just struggle. Like it's historical stats that continues and continues and continues over different coaching regimes, over different player careers. Still, I really thought the Pacers would win that game. The Raptors are, even though they're 2-3 and have a better record now because of that victory, their team, it's not going anywhere. It looks like they are rebuilding mode for Toronto, and for the Pacers to get outworked left and right, even with the injuries, is disconcerting to say the least.
Domantas Sabonis, Jimmy brought this up earlier. 4 shot attempts. He had 3 in the first 5 minutes of the game, 2 off of offensive rebounds. And then his final shot attempt in the last 43 minutes of the game came in the third
missed bunny
quarter. I have never seen a team take away Sabonis so well in my life. He was 3 of 4 from the field. That's it. Had some turnovers. Didn't have a lot of assists. I know we choked earlier about Nate Bjorken on that staff, but they were able to swarm Domas, and I just think the length bothered. It's not like Toronto's tall, but the length, I think, swiping at him really was an issue.
Yeah, Precious Achiuwa, everybody on Toronto eating last night, left and right. And, yeah, I mean, Duarte has still looked sharp, and you mentioned earlier in the show, KB, it sounded like post-game, Duarte was the one that was, of everybody, fully transparent and acknowledging the fact that they got to be better. They can't be losing those 50-50 balls. They can't be getting outworked like that. And for the rookie to have that much self-awareness and awareness of the team around him at this stage is very, very promising on top of what he already does on the floor.
Duarte had 14 last night. Malcolm Brogdon had 18, but then he got hurt in the third quarter. Hamstring injury there. Again, that's not shocking news, but unfortunately Malcolm Brogdon hurt again. Isaiah Jackson, a left knee injury that looked not good, and Rick Carlisle alluded to that after the game, so we'll see those injury situations. Pacers will stay on the road at Brooklyn Friday, and then a back-to-back with a rematch against the Raptors on Saturday night here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Last night, Game 2 World Series, we're now tied at 1. 7-2, the Astros beat the Braves. Small ball, Jimmy. People say home runs and strikeouts. How about that second inning? I don't know if the ball got off the ground, and the Astros score 4 runs on 5 hits.
Now you've got yourself a series. Tied at 1-1, headed back to Atlanta. You had highlighted earlier in the show that ticket prices are bonkers, as you'd expect. The Braves haven't won a World Series since '95. I'm still pulling for Atlanta. I know that, I don't know what type of Houston fan blackmailed you to go against the war on cheating and pick the Astros.
Head, not heart. Head, not heart. What did your head say at the start of the series?
I mean, if you would have made me pick, I would have said Houston, but I don't know about
Houston
5.
What?
6 or 7.
Mark, you were Houston in 6, right?
Houston 6, yeah.
Which looks decent right now.
ATL, baby.
Game 3 Friday, and who is it? Ian Anderson, and I forget who's starting for.
Win it for Charlie Morton. Come on.
Luis Garcia, I believe.
Well, Braves.
This is the most random starting rotations for a World Series I can remember.
I could not agree more on that. Thursday Night Football tonight, Packers-Cardinals. I've got the Packers +6. Mark Dykton's got the Cardinals -6. Believe in the no-name wideouts and Aaron Rodgers. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. We'll get Scott Agnes some updates. Last night, it was unfortunately a busy night, not in a good way for the Pacers. We'll get his thoughts on that. If you missed the DeForest Buckner interview, Mark will have that in the podcast as well. Kevin Bowen, Jimmy Cook, Fan Morning Show.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off select tires now through October 31st. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This year, our average client received over $52,000 with an easy cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, this is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. And yes, it's true, I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. When you need help, call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
My fiancé surprised me with an engagement ring from Shane Company. A simple solitaire ring with a beautiful oval diamond. I love it. I had a vision of what I wanted to do with the wedding bands to create my own look and add even more sparkle. Shane Company has so many options, so it was easy to bring it to life. I got 2 bands. I selected a diamond contour band to go on one side of my engagement ring and a delicate vintage band to go on the other. It's a unique ring stack and it fits my style. It's totally me. My fiancé got his wedding band at Shane Company too. I had no idea what he'd gravitate to because he never wears jewelry. He tried on lots of rings. Turns out, he really liked a black tantalum band. It's masculine and unique, and it suits his personality. The wedding is really soon, and I can't wait to wear my gorgeous new rings every day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Get ready for the cool weather right now at Payless Liquors. They've got beer, wine, and spirits on sale. Bud Light 15-pack aluminums are only $15.99, and Founders 15-packs are only $14.99. You can get Oyster Bay for $9.99 a bottle, or Behringer White Zim for an amazing $2.99 a bottle. And if you're looking for the half gallons, Dewar's White Label is only $29.99, and Jim Beam White Label $26.99 at all 26 Payless Liquor locations. Open 7 days a week and online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
This is how we reinvent banking.
Every week or two, your paycheck comes through. Steady like a stopwatch, easy to view. But if your bank knows that your checks will drop like clockwork, can't they speed it up, huh? Enter Huntington, punchline please, where your paycheck's delivered up to 2 days early. Get your paychecks up to 2 days early. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington, welcome.
Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply. Learn more at huntington.com/earlypay.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
118-100 Raptors over the Pacers last night. Scott Agnes from Fieldhouse Files is on the phone line now. And Scott, I thought the rookie summed it up pretty darn well after the game. Chris Duarte saying outworked, out-hustled. I thought very well put, and honestly a non-starter for the Pacers given their talent and their injury situation right now.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a post-game press conference, KB, where not much need to be said. I think Jeremy Lamb and Chris Duarte were each asked 2 questions, and then those of us on the Zoom were like, yep, that pretty much sums it up right there. The frustrating thing was the guys both agreeing, saying, hey, we weren't ready to play from the start, and that's concerning. Yeah, you can have off nights. Maybe your shooting doesn't go well, whatever, but to not be ready and then to, be outplayed right away, and then I think that really tore at them a little bit. And I heard you talking about Domas and the fact it was just how much they were able to smother him, and it wasn't just this year. They've done that in years past, and then he ends up with a stat line where he has more turnovers than field goals made. It was just a frustrating night overall for everybody on that roster.
Scott Agnes of Fieldhouse Files joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Scott Agnes. Scott, I'm stealing from your Twitter feed a bit for this next question. What was worse to you, the 23 turnovers or noted glass cleaner 6'1" guard Fred VanVleet getting a career-high 10 boards?
Yeah, I think it was the turnovers. It was the turnovers. But, yeah, the fact Fred VanVleet having a career high and more rebounds than anyone on the Pacers roster, and he's the 6'1" guard. Both of those jumped out. But just the team's inability to take care of the basketball. And to, by halftime, I think they had 12 and then ended the game at 23, and they were just kind of so lackadaisical and careless with it. And I get it, because Toronto has that length, and they're constantly, swiping at it and trying to rip it away, and that gave the Pacers problems. But that just made for a frustrating, disappointing game all night last night. The fact that they couldn't get in rhythm, and then it's a third game in a row where offensively they just were not sharp whatsoever.
He's Scott Agnes, like Jim said. Fieldhouse Files joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline. Scott, I don't know if people had already turned it off by the time Malcolm Brogdon got hurt, but they probably had turned it off by the time Isaiah Jackson got hurt. Anything more to share on those injuries? I believe left hamstring for Brogdon and then left knee for Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. And I do want to point out for Malcolm, remember in May of this past season, he sat out. That was with a right hamstring strain. So it's not, an old injury reappearing for him. And then
he sat out quite a while, right? With that, I mean, that was like almost 10 games, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 10 games, 2 weeks at the start of May there, right before I wouldn't even call it postseason, the play-in game, if you remember. And then in terms of Isaiah, initially. So he jumped, then was fine, jumped again on the same possession, like back-to-back, and then kind of tweaked something. Maybe he jammed it against Sabonis. It was hard to really tell from the angle. If it wasn't that, then it would be a non-contact injury, which is actually more scary when you come down to it. I thought it was his left ankle initially, but then he needed help off the floor. We don't know anything more other than at the end of his presser, Rick Carlisle going, it was a left knee injury, and obviously it didn't look good or something like that. And if a guy needs help off the floor, a little bit concerning. And so they were going to run tests. Last night they stayed overnight in Toronto, and then I'm sure they can get it looked at if needed even further. Today in Brooklyn, where that's actually where a couple of their guys had surgeries. DJ Warren, Edmund Sumner, and such. Some of the best medical there if needed.
Gosh, I hate hearing that on Jackson. I think there's a lot to work with there, and his development is so important here to get on the floor, because really he didn't play a ton in his freshman season.
He was the one guy that gave him that energy, though, right?
Yeah.
If anything, you would have liked to see him get a shot at it earlier in the game, because I loved how he was able to get up the floor and just change their dynamic slightly.
Scott Agnes joining us again. You can hit him with a follow on Twitter at Scott Agnes. Scott, I know that a major talking point among Pacers fans and some of the media as well has been this team not being at full strength yet. I know this question changes with Brogdon being out, but how much do you think is due to the fact that LeVert and Warren still aren't out there?
I think that's a lot of it, but also at the same time, I'm like, how many years is that going to be the talking point? You got to go back, I think, to 2017, and then that becomes the repetitive storyline. Halfway through a season, friends, ask how the team's doing, and I'm like, well, in consideration for their health, things are okay, right? I'm kind of tired of that excuse, but there's not much they can do. Your top two scorers, that's 40 points a game. If you throw Brogdon in there in the short term, there's 60 points per game for this group. And so in doing so, we've never been able to see this group to its full potential, and that's to its detriment, because I think that is exactly why they've continued to run it back with Sabonis, with Turner, and with some other pieces to say, okay, this is the year. Let's finally see what we got this year. And then this year you add in the new element of the entire new coaching staff. And so I think injuries compact, in addition to just the newness of this coaching staff, not newness of the players really. And that's contributed to the slow start, but we're just a week into the season. The Bucks are 500. The Nets lost last night, are in 2-3. So it's not it's not all too unfamiliar to see teams struggle out of the gates like this. But this is exactly why they really needed to come away with those first two wins where they were in full control before relenting.
Scott Agnes with us here on the Fan Morning Show. What's left for Karis LeVert to clear, Scott? I mean, practice time is going to be hard with, a back-to-back coming up. So, I mean, is he good to go, for lack of a better term? Obviously, he's not because he didn't play last night. But I guess, what are the final steps left before he makes his season debut?
Yeah, my understanding is he's good to go. He said, I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not putting a timeline on it, is what he said the other day. But he's been ramping up his activity level really mostly in the last week or so. And here's what I keep thinking about, and especially was notable against Toronto last night with Nate Bjorken right there behind the bench. And that was the fact that over the summer, he kind of lashed out on a podcast. I forget whose it was. Another player, I think, and saying, maybe JJ Redick, and saying, yeah, I was rushed back. I had barely practiced, and I was just put out there. So that's actually something I want to ask Karis about the next time we're able to talk about how much, if at all, that has influenced his timeline to return, so to speak. I think, if anything, it's the team wanting to make sure they get it right this time, because you don't want to rush Karis with a back injury like this, but I'd be surprised if he does not make his season debut this weekend with one of their two games.
Scott, obviously Saturday, it's the Raptors back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You think a better chance the Pacers sign Lance Stevenson, or they play a tribute video for Nate Bjorken?
Well, considering the TV broadcast spent all of 3 seconds on a headshot showing Nate Bjorken and no pregame mention.
I was going to say, wait until what? Like Lance the end of the second quarter. That was like 3 minutes ago in the first half before they showed him.
I was stunned because that was an obvious storyline you can't skip over, and you got to. I think it is worthwhile for a short discussion. So, considering those options, I'm going to say the tribute video of Nate Bjorken. And on top of that, I know I've talked with team officials in the past, and it's their policy not to do that, even if this was, George Hill or Jeff Teague or whatever. They don't do tribute videos, because then where do you draw the line? And so we've seen some laughable tribute videos. I forget, maybe it was, I don't know, the Warriors or Avery Bradley after one season getting a tribute. It's like, no, we don't need those.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, probably not a lot of footage there for Nate to play in that tribute video, but I'm sure he got the last laugh last night.
Here's the one thing, KB, I do want to point out about all that, where I do feel for him. Not once did he ever coach the Pacers in front of a full crowd, either at home or away, nor without a mask. So in part, he never got that full opportunity, but it speaks to how horrible things were behind the scenes that he was not afforded that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I mean, he got a raw deal injury-wise and COVID-wise, but I also think he brought a lot of the other stuff upon himself. Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files, joins us every Thursday here on the Fan Morning Show. Scott, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Scott Agnes right there. We're going to have Zach Kiefer in about 15 minutes. Teron Davenport, the Mike Wells version of ESPN.com for the Titans.
That's not very nice.
I know. As soon as I said it, I'm like, gosh, I hope Teron is not listening right now. He will join us in about an hour. We had a couple questions trade deadline related for the Colts. I want to hit on those when we get back as well. Kevin Bowe and Jimmy Cook here, Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Dan Dockich, and you've heard me talk about how awesome Indiana Grand Racing and Casino is. Well, Saturday, October 30th, is Champions Day at the track with more than $1 million in total purse money on the line. When the first post time starts at noon, I'll be live on site with a special edition of the Dan Dockich Show. In addition to 9 stakes races featuring the state's top thoroughbreds and quarter horses, Champions Day at Indiana Grand will have a cigar rolling station with freebies for the first 200 people, 5 $1,000 mega bet drawings, merchandise giveaways, strolling entertainment, and live DJs, 3 $10,000 family leisure shopping spree drawings, and even a Headless Horseman appearance. All ages welcome, plus admission and parking are free. Racing goes rain or shine with plenty of seating indoors or out. Bottom line, this is one you don't want to miss. It's Champions Day Saturday, October 30th at Indiana Grand Racing and Casino, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Join me at noon.
A new season, a new QB, a new look. Football is back. And so are Bud Light Blue Fridays. Every week, join JMV beginning at 3 for Cold Bud Lights, Colts football talk, and your chance to win tickets to Colts games.
Hey, JMV, join me Friday at Heavy Sports Cafe in Canby for your chance at Titans tickets.
JMV, Bud Light, and you. Doing it for the shoe.
I'll see you this Friday at Heavy Sports Cafe in Canby. Hey, it's JMV. Did you know the lack of sleep from snoring can lead to other health issues for both the snorer and the snorer's partner? My friends at Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic can help you. Meet the friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable staff and work with Dr. Steve Green. Yeah, you know, Steve Green from IU basketball fame, the co-founder and clinical director who wants to get everyone a better night's sleep. A better night's sleep is just an appointment away. It helped me. It can help you. StopYourSnoreNow.com or 317-482-7900 today.
Well, Ryan Kelly is the home loan expert. You can get a hold of him at 317-550-1515 or go to thehomeloanexpert.com. And as a customer of Ryan Kelly myself, I send people to you. Ryan's on the phone right now. Ryan, I send people to you, especially the military folks, because this hero loan is absolutely sensational.
Absolutely. And thank you for all the referrals. Thank you for sending folks over, personal friends, listeners on the station, all of that. It mean it. Thank you very much. We will always take great care of our clients. And when you talk about Hero Loan, it's a really big deal to us at the office. That's why we created it. VA loans are some of the best out there. Interest rates are generally a full point lower than other loans. You can buy a house with zero money down. And if you're thinking about a cash out refinance on the VA loan, you can go up to 100% of that appraised value. Get the loan you deserve today and close it in as little as 14 days. The next VA loan at HeroLoan.com. Thanks, Big Joe.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
The holidays are doubly important this year, so make your celebrations doubly special. At Kroger, we've got a huge selection of high-quality meats on top of fresh, natural produce, like fresh, never-frozen prime-grade beef and our Simple Truth organic Brussels sprouts, or delicious king crab legs with our private selection gourmet potatoes. Whew, had to say that doubly fast. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
And check out our fresh weekly digital deals. Right now, select Red Baron pizzas are $2.47 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, JMV, from my friends Joe, John, and Dennis, and Connecticut. I've learned a lot of things from them over the years, and one is with the change of the season, your water can change too. So it's a great time to have your water tested by the experts at Connecticut. And guess what? Connecticut will come to your house and test your water for free. That's right, at no cost to you. So do what I did and have Connecticut test your water. You'll learn what's really in your water and how you can keep it clean. Great tasting water, no matter what water problems you have. It's ConnecticutIndy.com to learn more today.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Listen on air, online at 1075thefan.com, and on our free app at Google Play and on the App Store.
Guess that's why I live it. Watch it now.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We've got Jimmy Cook in with us today, producer of the Dan Dockett Show. Brendan King will be back in tomorrow. We debated a lot yesterday, Jimmy, about the Colts and the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday. Buy, sell, where they should be in that. I'm of the belief, unless you can move Marlon Mack, and now with your injury situation at running back, again, it's not like Jonathan Taylor and Naeem Hines are going to miss time, but they're at least on the injury report, which is pretty rare for both of them. I'm kind of thinking, well, you don't do anything. I don't consider this team one piece away from being a legit AFC contender, nor do I look at it and say, sell, sell, sell. Where are you at on the Colts activity front with Tuesday's deadline looming?
Well, I've heard you say it already, and this was my stance with Dan yesterday. If you're the Colts and you're looking for a need, like somebody asked, what should the Colts trade for? What do they need? I don't know the full market of who's available, but yes, your secondary or safety help would be my top priority, particularly with Julian Blackmon's absence. Again, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what it's going to cost to get that, but if you're wanting to make a trade and wanting to know what area you need to improve at, to me, those are your two biggest weaknesses on the roster right now, aside from maybe another weapon on offense. But I don't know that that's the move you make right now if you're the Colts.
Yeah, I was talking yesterday, could you pair kind of a late day 3 pick with Marlon Mack and find a safety that would start next to Kari Willis for the rest of the season, and then next year still be, involved in some sub packages whenever Julian Blackmon, does get back and healthy. Now, that's going to take a whole lot to find the right team to, tango with. So I don't necessarily think I'm expecting it, but that's kind of the route that I would go down. Jerry asks, and boy, this is a pretty wild one, so brace yourself here, okay? If the Colts should trade Brett Hundley for a 5th-round pick and get a great backup behind Carson Wentz.
The only way that Brett Hundley is getting traded for anything more than a bag of potato chips is if there is like a knife, if this is knife point is where this deal is happening at.
Yeah.
Just because the Jets traded a 5th for Joe Flacco, I don't think that just assumes that Brett Hundley is meriting a 5th pick.
Joe Flacco's at least done something in his NFL career.
If Chris Ballard gets a 5th-round pick for Brett Hundley, you erect the statue of Ballard on top of Lucas Oil Stadium.
No,
not in front. Just put it on top. So when we're all flying into Indy, we can see it.
I take it back.
Like one of those big Jesuses you see on the highway when you drive in the Midwest.
I'll pull in. I'll chip in. No, I take it back in terms of what I want them to trade for. I want them to go get a substantial backup quarterback. That's what I want. That's what I want the Colts to do. Defense first.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am. Because if something happens to Wentz, let's say you win this weekend, and something happens to Wentz the rest of the way, I don't mean...
Then the season's over.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I mean, the season's over no matter who you get. I mean, who are you trading for? What backup quarterback is coming in here and giving you quality?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But that to me, if it's not addressed at the deadline, has to be addressed next offseason. Like, it has to be.
Yeah, see, again, this is where I differ with a lot of people's thinking on backup quarterback. I'm always of I want my backup to have developmental traits for the future when my starter is not 100% entrenched as a Mahomes.
That's not Brett Hundley.
Correct. Like, I get it. Chad Henne backs up Patrick.
Don't get me wrong.
That makes a lot of sense.
He does, but again, like, Chad Henne's not going to, like, if Patrick Mahomes is out for the season.
Hey, Chad Henne, big pass last year against the Browns.
He did. But that's what it is. Situationally, half a game or maybe like a game or two. But you're not going to get world saved, season saved by your backup more often than not. However, if you have a quarterback that is consistently injured all the time or has a career history of being injured, and your best backup option, I don't want to get too much in the weeds in this, but your best backup option has not really played significant football in 4 years, like, yeah, I'm with you. Have somebody that can learn or that can grow, like an Ellinger or something like that. Or maybe what they had with Eason. That's a whole nother story of how Brett Hundley leapfrogged Jacob Eason in the Colts depth. That's still something that's baffling to me that I'll never get the answer to. I'm half kidding about really making a deadline day deal for that, but that is something that needs to be addressed in the offseason. Someone that at least you can trust. I don't think you can trust Brett Hundley. I don't.
Yeah, a couple things why I think the Colts will be quiet at the deadline is just they're in a... I would say probably the least amount of draft pick resources in the Chris Ballard era. In all likelihood, Carson Wentz has played 99% of the snaps so far. That first-round pick's going to Philly. So when you start packaging other picks, The Colts have a good amount of day 3 picks actually coming up, but so I don't know, maybe one of those could be expendable there. And the other thing is just cap situation-wise, they're not in a great spot. I know there's some corners out there. Kyle Fuller's a name that's been thrown around a lot, but cap-wise, they're not in a great position.
Here, I want to play this game with you just to, rile up everybody. I know it's a big game on Sunday, but if the Colts lose, are you making sure that snap count does not get hit rest of the way? Because I said yes.
Terrific question.
He can still play X amount of snaps. Like, you'll have to have somebody in your analytical department. Surely somebody already has track of it right now.
So if Carson Wentz plays 12 games, is that enough to evaluate him and get the answer that you need on him? Because I tend to think I want to see if he can stay healthy for a full season. So that's why I would continue playing.
That's not worth the first-round pick to me, no. The answer to that question is not worth a first-round pick if you're not making the playoffs. No.
So this is where I would disagree with that. The most important question for me in this season is Carson Wentz the answer or not? And I think him proving he can stay healthy for an entire year is a part of that. I get it. A first-round pick means a whole lot, especially if you go, 500 and you're drafting the top 15. I do not run away from that. So it's fine for you and I to debate this, and I agree with it, Jimmy. But internally, there is no way they are benching Carson Wentz until they're mathematically eliminated. And given the AFC and how it looks, they're not going to be mathematically eliminated for weeks.
Well, then this...
unless Jim Irsay steps in.
That's a step back to me, then. If you miss the playoffs and you don't have a first-round pick, that's a step back for me.
Boy, that is... Whew. Colts-Titans Sunday. Who you got?
Titans 28, Colts 24.
Boo! Boo him out of the building. Boo!
YouTube chatter doesn't like me. It's okay.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's fine.
That's nothing new for what you've experienced already. Okay, why?
I think that the Titans' offense, in terms of it being complete, both from Derrick Henry being a threat, but also Tannehill getting more familiarized with Julio Jones in there, along with A.J. Brown, has helped them turn a corner. I want to see if the Titans are able to put together defensive stands, not 3 points, I don't think that's happening, but defensive stands like that against an offense.
That was a fluke Titans performance on Sunday defense.
I think it was too, and also, KB, we talked about it earlier in the show, teams playing bad against certain teams or in certain arenas. Andy Reid's like 1-8 all time against the Titans, like 2-9. So it's one of those weird things where, I agree with you.
That's so odd.
It's probably an anomaly game in terms of what the Titans defense did, but I'm intrigued to see if Michael Pittman Jr. or if T.Y. Hilton's out there. I know he did not participate, right, on the most recent practice report. I want to see them eat for sure, but I also am intrigued to see if this Titans defense is able to put together another performance like that 2 weeks in a row. I think the answer is no. I think it's a shootout. Not like your traditional 40-41 shootout, but 28-24. That's still a decent amount of points, and I think the Titans take care of it.
Yeah, Mark and I will give our picks tomorrow along with Brendan King. I will say that I have not been this torn on a game all season. I've been pretty confident. Honestly, that Rams game I was a bit torn on.
You said you don't think you missed yet, right?
Yeah, so far, knock on wood, so good. On our Colts picks have been 3-4, which is, or I guess I've been a perfect 7 for 7, predicting a 3-4 record so far. But this one, man, I'm really torn on. Brandon goes, the Colts are not out of it if they lose on Sunday, right? A lot less likely, but not out of it, definitely. And I guess that gets back to the point, Jimmy, of you and I are debating, should they look into limiting Carson or outright benching him, but that's different than what I think the administration would do. There is, again, I would be shocked, doesn't begin to describe.
Find me their wins.
How surprised.
Find me their wins if they lose on Sunday to make the postseason YouTube chat. Find them for me, please.
Correct, but that's not how an NFL franchise
I know it's
think.
Not. I understand that. I just mean less on the draft pick and more on just
you
are
a little bit higher on that last wild card spot. You were saying you thought maybe 5 losses for that,
because I forgot about. I keep forgetting about 2 years ago where they took away the second first round bye and they added the the additional wild card spot.
So there's 7.
So right now there's 7 wild card spots, and the Browns, I believe, at 4-3 have that 7th spot. So yeah, I'm willing to say.
See, I think it'll be 6 or 7 losses.
5 or 6, 6 or 7 could get you there.
I mean, last year, the Colts were 11-5, and that got the final spot.
But look at the rest of the in the hunt teams. I know we got a break. Steelers 3-3, Patriots 3-4, Colts 3-4, Chiefs 3-4, Broncos 3-4, and then it's your bottom dwellers: Jets, Jaguars, Dolphins, Texans, all out. You go from spots 7 to 12. It's still highly competitive for who's going to get that last wild card spot.
He's Jimmy Cook. I am Kevin Bowen. We come back here on the Fan Morning Show. Zach Kiefer going to join us from The Athletic.
School is in session.
Sean Salisbury, nice enough to join us. What do you think of Carson Wentz to this point?
He's been spectacular at moments, and it looks to me like he's becoming a threat. If Indianapolis knew at this stage of the season that this is the Carson Wentz they were going to get with a chance to continue to build on this, and he was going to be healthy, they would have made this trade again, and so would I.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
As our troops are coming home, every business should be finding ways to thank and honor them for their service. We created the Hero Loan. HeroLoan.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Colts are back home again. Make sure you're at the only Colts VIP tailgate, BullseyeEventGroup.com. The only place to be before the Colts battle the Titans. BullseyeEventGroup.com now for your tailgate tickets.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at DriveHubler.com.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook wants you to be in control of your football bets. That's why players love the same game parlays at Bet Rivers. Same game parlays let you mix and match player props and game bets and gives a payout boost to the winning combinations you want to root for. Combine 2 bets or combine many. You pick your confidence level and then watch the game unfold. Bet on same game parlays at BetRivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
When we at AmericanEagle.com were asked by our client, Repair Clinic, to, repair their website, our digital marketing experts, like Tim, rolled up their sleeves and got to work. If you know Tim, you know that he loves a good challenge, which meant that this project was pretty much the highlight of Tim's year. From improving slow-loading performance that plagued our client's site to slashing duplicate pages and building an optimized sitemap, Tim was like a real-life action hero, but of website optimization. And our client reaped the benefits with major strides in their SEO, like more traffic, impressions, and revenue. Tim and the team even helped them create search and email marketing campaigns and better ongoing analytics tracking. However complex your digital challenges, from digital marketing and strategy to web development, UX, and more, talk to the experts at AmericanEagle.com. Don't just grow, soar.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3 cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
The Colts are back home to play the division-leading Tennessee Titans. Coverage Sunday morning at 9 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. It's the Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, we're calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we gotta run the ball. It's down there.
We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down
there?
Just play. We can run it down.
Yeah, Jeff.
Hey, so
we will. All right, we're going to call fast plays.
With Kevin Bowen.
Oh, baby.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Final hour of the Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen and Jimmy Cook here on a Thursday morning. We had DeForest Buckner on earlier. That podcast will be up very shortly. Great interview with number 99 for the Colts. Let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline now. And Zach Kiefer from The Athletic joins us. Zach, I know the competition maybe hasn't been, or definitely hasn't been up to par, but without a doubt in my mind, the Colts are playing their best stretch of the season. Do you look at Sunday as the next hurdle of, all right, now can you do it against a much more legit opponent?
Yeah, I do. And this is the one they always talk about, right? They always talk about the AFC South. And I know among the biggest regrets, if that's the right word, but the things that bothered Frank Reich the most entering this season, it was that they haven't got the division title since he's been here. They made the playoffs twice, but he knows where it starts. It starts with the division, and you don't win the division unless you win Sunday. So they've started to play better, and I even thought they played a lot better in Baltimore. They didn't finish, and that's on them, but you can start to see it over the last 3 or 4 weeks. This is the Sunday you go out and prove it, I think. This is the day you got to show that you can not just beat bad teams, but you can beat good ones.
Zach Kiefer joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at @ZKiefer. Zach, what's been the most promising aspect of this week for you? Has it been the injury report, or has it been just the sense of confidence in the locker room headed to this pivotal divisional matchup?
Yeah, I'm not going to overreact to a Wednesday injury report when they didn't even practice. It was just a walkthrough, so it's really hard to glean too much into that. You know, I watched Xavier Rhodes walk off the field Sunday night, and he was limping considerably. Now, I know that's 7 days before their next game, but it didn't look great. They need Rock Ya-Sin back because who knows what Rhodes' status is. But the big thing is if you get Braden Smith back on the right side, that makes you feel better on the offensive line. Though Matt Pryor has been serviceable. And then obviously, you know, T.Y. Hilton is the big one. You cannot just keep feeding Michael Pittman. Maybe you can. Maybe he's that good. But if you get T.Y. back, that's just going to really open up the passing game. He matters in a big way, not just in presence, but in production. But, look, they're confident. Like, they are. They really are. And I was talking to a coach on the field Sunday night, and he said, look, we just feel really good about what we're doing right now. And even though the results aren't necessarily showing it, they're still 3-4. I think this team is starting to believe they're playing like they should have been playing all along. Now, they played pretty awful the first couple of weeks, and I think that was the source of frustration. But they're playing pretty well, and you know, we tend to overreact to results in this league. It's a week-by-week league. It's how you did last Sunday. If you kind of capsule the last 3-4 weeks, they're finally starting to play like the team we thought we would see back in training camp.
Zach Kiefer is on the Payless Liquors hotline with myself, Kevin Bowen, and Jimmy Cook. We've been talking a little trade deadline the past couple of days, Zach, on the show. I guess Marlon Mack certainly is a name that is continuing to be floated around, but do you see the Colts moving Mack or being a buyer or seller come Tuesday at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, they're going to field some calls. I know that. With Mack, it's kind of interesting because that was kind of agreed upon that they would explore the possibility of the trade, and then Jordan Wilkins kind of disappeared. He was back as a full participant in practice yesterday, so the Colts have their fourth stringer back, possibly third stringer. You feel good if Wilkins is third string and you've got Hines and Taylor up front. I don't know what you get for Mack. If you get a sixth rounder, do you take it? I think you probably do. I think a fifth rounder is probably dreaming at this point. But there might be a team out there that's desperate for a running back. I think everybody knows that Marlon can still play, and he's looked better in the last couple of weeks. Certainly they did in training camp and the first couple of weeks of the season. That'll just be depending on the offer. If I'm the Colts and there's a pass rusher out there that's available, I might make a move. The problem is those guys just don't become available. And Chris Ballard hates to give away draft capital. We all know that. So that'll be fascinating to see. But even though this is a year where it seems like they could make a move, my gut tells me they're probably going to do what they always do and stay quiet.
Zach, with Mack, obviously Taylor and Hines continue to be incredibly durable. They are both on the injury report for what it's worth this week. Do you think Marlon Mack as insurance policy means more than a 6th or 7th round pick?
Yeah, I do. And you can definitely make that case because he's a good player. He's a good player. And you're going to be kicking yourself in December if something were to happen and you need him and you don't have him, and you're paying him hardly nothing. I think it's a $2 million base salary this year. So money isn't an option, and it's very clear that he's going to end up somewhere next year. But I also would be fine moving him. I mean, Naheem Hines has never missed a game in his career. He's only missed a handful of practices. I'm working on a big story on Jonathan Taylor for next week. This dude's never missed a game in his entire football life due to injury. He did miss one last year because he was a close contact to a COVID case. But that's really, really durable at a really tough position. So I would be fine with the move because that's your two-horse back for the future.
Zach, I know you mentioned this kind of on Twitter earlier this week, but is the biggest difference in why Colts fans should feel more confident about the chances of a victory against the Titans this weekend the health of Carson Wentz?
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw him play the Titans the first time. I mean, he said yesterday he kind of was asked the same question, and he kind of laughed, and he was like, I was stuck in mud a couple of those plays. And look, he missed some throws, and you got to make those whether your ankles are good or not. But the reality is, I think the biggest question entering this season was, is this the answer at quarterback? Because this could be the answer for a couple of years as opposed to just 1 year with Phillip Rivers and 1 year with Jacoby Brissett. I think all signs point to yes. Now, I know it's 7 games in and we got a long way to go, but I think, doesn't Carson Wentz give you hope as a fan? If you're a fan out there and you're watching this team, one, isn't it fun to watch this team a little bit again? Like, launch it down the field, Michael Pittman making plays, Taylor tearing up defenses every week. I think that's fun, and I think Wentz makes it fun because he's got that huge arm. He can extend plays. It's a little bit like what we saw in 2018, and that's a dangerous quarterback skill set to have for a guy like Frank Reich, who's been pretty dang good the last couple of weeks calling plays, in my opinion.
Boy, I agree with that. I think it's really fun watching Carson Wentz play quarterback, and I don't know if how much that matters to fans, but I think from entertainment value, it is definitely at a higher level. Zach, I wanted to throw this at you. Drew mentioned this on Twitter, and we're just debating the whole, right now it looks like you're sending a first-round pick to Philly for Carson Wentz. I mean, he's played 99% of the snaps, unless he gets hurt for a substantial period of time. That's the case. But Drew says this. He goes, it's weird because Carson Wentz playing so great is never a bad thing. But if the Colts miss the playoffs and it's not because of your quarterback and you lose your first rounder, wouldn't that be really humbling for Chris Ballard and these scouts? That means the team you thought was a quarterback away wasn't. How do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, how do you think we would view such a season? Because right now, that's how it's on that path. We'll obviously see this is a huge crossroads on Sunday, but it's on the path that Drew just laid out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think it's not just Chris Ballard, but it's Frank Reich. Neither should be absolved of blame for those first 2 or 3 weeks, right? And then the collapse in Baltimore. That's inexcusable. This team, more than any other team out there that I can think of, knows what those 1 games can do to you come late December or January when it's time to decide the playoffs, right? I mean, last year you blow that inexplicable loss in September in Jacksonville. The only team the Jaguars won all game. Excuse me, what I'm trying to say is the only game the Jaguars won all season. And that came back to bite you because you could have been hosting a playoff game and maybe in round 2. You really could have done that last year. So you talk to the players all training camp and they say, we know the importance of every game. We know you got to finish. We know it can come down to 1 game at the end. And they blow a 22-point lead, or a 19-point lead in Baltimore in Week 5 in a game they absolutely should have won. And if they make an extra point that night, we're talking about a team that's on a 4-game win streak right now. And very much neck and neck with the Titans, in my opinion, in terms of the AFC South race. Right now, it's the Titans to lose, the way they're playing. So it's going to come down to coaching, and it's going to come down to the GM, if that's indeed the case and you missed the playoffs. Because you made this big move. The owner backed you. You gave up significant capital, a third. Don't forget about the third. I mean, that's a huge pick in itself. It's going to be a first because Carson's going to play the snaps required. And if you don't make the playoffs, that's an indictment of where you're at. You said it was just the quarterback you needed. If you don't make the playoffs, I mean, that's not – Jim Irsay isn't looking to just make the playoffs. Remember, he wants to play deep into January. So that's a reality they're going to have to live with if that's indeed what happens. And they're going to have to look at things. Now, nobody's going to get fired because these guys just signed 5-year extensions. But that's going to be something they're going to have to answer for. And that's going to be hard to do because they took some risks in terms of how they were going to build this team this year. And by that, I mean they didn't really chase a veteran pass rusher. We can talk all day about where the pass rush is at. And they made a couple other moves that really haven't paid off. So that's really why they're at where they're at.
Zach, I know this is a dumb question, but I'm a dumb guy sometimes, and you kind of already answered the question already, but I'm still going to ask it because we were discussing it earlier in the show.
Boy, nothing says a great lead-in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lead-in. Like Emmy-worthy lead-in right there. So there's no scenario where the Colts lose on Sunday and maybe they lose a couple over these next few weeks where they're worried about that snap count and they're sitting Wentz to keep that first-round pick?
No, not a dumb question either, Jimmy. Not a dumb question. I get this all the time. And me and Mike Chappell have debated it endlessly in the media room. No, they're not going to sit down Carson Wentz. How do you sit down Carson Wentz and turn to Darius Leonard, who's played through a throbbing ankle injury the first 6 games, who's got, 8 turnovers by himself, for God's sake, and you say, well, it's not that important that we win this week. We just want to protect this pick. You can't do that. You can't do it to Buckner, who played through a broken hand and a bum ankle last year. It's just bad ball. It's a bad way to do things. And I understand we're talking about a top 8, 9, 10 pick. I mean, that's a really valuable thing. But the Colts are approaching this as if they've lost a first-round pick. It's going to go to Philadelphia, and they're going to keep Carson Wentz on the field. There's going to be such a drop-off between Wentz and whoever the heck the backup is, whether it's Ellinger or Hundley. I don't even want to picture that scenario. That'd be too rough for Colts fans to have to watch. So it's going to be Wentz, and they're not going to play that game where they sit him down.
Zach, before we let you go, and again, Zach Kiefer from The Athletic here on the Fan Morning Show. In my mind, Michael Pittman is unquestionably your number one wideout. I'd probably throw him as a top 20 wideout in the league right now. Do you see like top 5, top 7, 8 potential out of him at some point in his career? Because he's a really unique wideout. I don't really know if you would compare him to many others in the league, just his playing style, the types of catches that he makes. But obviously he's well on his way to a 1,000-yard season, and I guess I'm just curious where you think his ceiling is as a wideout in this league.
Yeah, that's a fun conversation because he doesn't really do what anyone else does. And he's not in that top 10 category yet, but he's got some Randy Moss in him. We just saw that in San Francisco. But the reason they drafted him, and this is what I thought, and I was too narrow-minded to think, I thought he was a jump ball guy in terms of short slant routes and red zone stuff. We talked to Chris McGaha, the scout that was out at USC, and he told Ballard at one point, look, this guy's never lost a one-on-one rep. So this is a guy that was going to go win those 50-50 balls. And so you're seeing that, and that's really fun. And they haven't had that in a long time. They just haven't had a guy that can out-muscle and out-tough guys to win those catches. And then secondly, why I think he's going to go from, let's say, top 20 to top 10, top 8 in a couple of years is the quarterback. Carson Wentz can launch it, and that absolutely matters. There's a reason T.Y. Hilton's career took off like it did. One, T.Y.'s a great player, and he worked at it. But two, him and Luck was like this beautiful football romance on the field with those deep balls. So that matters a lot. And if it wasn't Carson Wentz back there, I don't know where exactly Michael Pittman would be headed. He's a great talent no matter what, no matter who's back there. But with Carson Wentz and his ability to extend plays and throw it 50 yards down the field in a breadbasket, I mean, those throws were really good the other night. He underthrew a couple, but if you go back and watch the last couple of games, some of those deep balls are just insanely accurate considering the distance. I think with Wentz, Pittman can become, we're talking Pro Bowl, All-Pro type stuff.
That ball he threw to Hilton in that Texan game was one of the prettier deep balls I've seen. Yeah. Zach, I know you mentioned Jonathan Taylor piece coming next week. Anything else we need to keep our eyes out for on The Athletic?
Yeah, this is a special one. I've been on this one for a while. He's such a unique kid, so I won't tease it too much, but it's going to be interesting because he's not like any other NFL player. His dreams when he was a kid were not necessarily to play in the NFL. So a really fascinating kid. So stay tuned for that next week.
I love it. Zach Kiefer every Thursday here on the Fan Morning Show. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
That's Zach Kiefer right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. I remember talking to some people around the Wisconsin program after the Taylor draft pick, and he basically was like, yeah, we'd get back from road games. Players would want to go party, and Jonathan Taylor would want to go to the ice bath.
It's awesome.
You don't get many college guys that are like thinking that, they're like, okay, which girls have I not texted in a while? Who do I need to juggle here? I want to go to the ice bath. That's kind of unique.
Everybody has their Zen places.
Wired individual.
Ice path, the way for Jonathan Taylor. By the way, support local journalism. I'm a proud subscriber of The Athletic. A lot of great national stuff in general, but also local stuff as well. Zach Kiefer, I know your paths cross not only here, but out at Colts camp.
No better feature writer here locally than Zach Kiefer, and from Scott with Fieldhouse Files, the Indy Star crew that we have on as well. They all do an outstanding job. I don't think I've mentioned this at this point this week, Jimmy, but we've talked about safety being probably the position of need right now if you were going to make a move. The Colts have made several safety moves on their practice squad over the last few weeks. I know normally we just kind of write those off, but now you can promote the practice squad guys, to your active roster on game days, and they can play for you. So last week they added a guy by the name of Josh Jones, former second-round pick, started for the Jags last year. Earlier this week, they worked out a lot of safeties. You remember the name Demarius Randall?
Yes.
Former, I believe, first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think played in Green Bay, has a couple other stops. They worked him out. The guy they ended up signing to their practice squad is Jaleel Adai. I don't know relation to Joseph. Actually, a different spelling. 62 career starts. Long time in the league, about a decade in the league. He actually was an undrafted free agent of the San Diego Chargers back in 2013, and Frank Reich was on that Chargers staff with Adai for a couple of seasons there. So right now, they are going to stick with an Andrew Sendejo, George Odom combination. That would have me looking for the cooler side of the pillow a whole lot, to steal a phrase from Stuart Scott. I would not sleep well at night thinking about those two as my safety combination. But if those guys don't work out, it looks like internally they've got a couple candidates on the practice squad.
Yeah, I hear they're actually going to give Brett Hundley some run and safety, just to keep moving him into positions he's not qualified for.
Oh, God. Yeah. Nothing says experience like 11 throws in the NFL in the last 4 years, But yeah, thank you to Zach.
I'm sorry, he's probably a really nice guy. Like I've never talked to Brett Hundley.
Seems like a nice guy.
I'm sure he's a super nice guy. To have that situation, you shouldn't invest all your chips. I'm with UK being a backup quarterback. 9 times out of 10, your starter goes down, you're in big trouble. But when you have somebody that could get injured at any moment, I just would have expected them to be more prepared. That's it.
Yeah, or just give Eason a chance. I'm curious to see if Eason's going to stick in Seattle, because it doesn't sound like Russell Wilson's coming back soon.
I think after their bye.
Did you say they have the Jags this week and then a bye?
Yeah.
Boy, do they need it. Boy, do they need a bye. My goodness.
God, watching Geno Monday night, man, I thought Peyton was going to jump through the TV of just how bad Geno was playing.
The Jaguars, then a bye, and then then at the Packers, and then against the Cardinals back-to-back.
Gosh. I think who rounds out the wild card in the NFC is going to be fascinating. Like, there are 4 good teams in the NFC right now.
You think, sorry to jump to the AFC, but you think how many losses get you the last wild card spot?
Yeah, I think it's a little more than you. I would say,
because I think I've changed halfway through the show.
I think it'll be a 10-7 record. Okay. Now, you got to have tiebreakers fall your way, and we know the Colts didn't have a lot late last season, tiebreakers in their situation. That's why they needed to get to 11-5. So, but I think, right now, if you want to boil it down to this, you could. Right now, it's Kansas City, Cleveland, and Indy for one spot in the wild card.
Yeah.
Now, again, it might not unfold like that, but right now, that's where it's at with the 7
teams. So Colts
teams.
fans are going to be really mad at me then. It's just going to be a full-scale rivalry the next couple weeks if it comes down to that. It should make you feel better, Colts fans. Chiefs have the hardest strength schedule, I believe, or second hardest strength schedule the rest of the way. And, nothing's going to instill confidence in me except for a big-time blowout win against the Giants. I need a statement win on Monday night. Come on.
I know Paul's been hanging on for quite a while. Let's sneak Paul in here. We want to talk a little Colts Titans. What's up, Paul?
How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for calling.
All right. Just like the first week before we played Tennessee, I told you the key to our defense was going to be Al-Qadim Muhammad if he could stay home. He's undisciplined on that play fake. He always runs down the backside, and Tannehill just rolls out free because he doesn't have the recovery speed to get back out there. I'm telling you, if he does that the first time, they need to remind him. If he does that a second time, you sit his butt on the bench because we cannot have Tannehill just running.
Paul's breaking up a little bit there. He couldn't be more spot on. 5 carries, I should say 5 like scrambles, probably more for Tannehill in that first matchup. I want to say 56 yards.
DeForest stressed it to us when we asked him earlier today.
Backside discipline, bootleg discipline is just non-existent for this Colts defense. So, Paul, sorry you're breaking up a little bit there, but thank you for the call.
Call back in a Dan show, Paul. You always bring it every time.
Yeah, Paul definitely brings it with us, so appreciate the call there. All right, let's hit a Big O Tire Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Yeah, it goes without saying what Sunday means. Frank Reich yesterday on the magnitude of this matchup.
Focused. I mean, I think we all understand, Mike, exactly what you're saying, the magnitude of the game, but really the challenge is to stay focused on preparation. You know, blowing up the magnitude of the game, you know, in our day-to-day preparations probably doesn't really do a lot. I mean, we're pretty, these guys are pretty motivated. We all work very hard. Really, all that's going to win this game is execution. So actually the emotion, sometimes what my experience is, the emotion of a game can become a distraction.
We will blow it up very happily. It is the biggest October Colts game in at least a decade for me. Massive.
I support that. I don't know how to argue it. I don't have that. I don't have that type of range on my memory. But
sure. I'm not giving people a lot of ammo to argue with it.
Happy Halloween!
It sounds like an outrageous comment, but yeah, I stand by it. A good injury report. I know Zach Kiefer kind of downplayed it a little bit.
Oh
but
man, I got slapped in the face.
I agree with you. Like, yes, it was a walkthrough. Today's going to be a modified practice, but like, it's not like all of a sudden all those guys that were limited yesterday are not going to practice today.
Sure.
That's not how you work with the injury report there. So I still think it's going to look promising as the week moves along. Julio Jones did not practice for the Titans. One name to mention that didn't play in that first matchup, no T.Y. Hilton, no Braden Smith for the Colts. They could both be back on Sunday. No Bud Dupree in that first game. You saw him on Sunday, Jimmy, and they were able to dial up that pass rush. Granted, the Colts O-line, much different than Kansas City's O-line.
Yeah, Mahomes nearly was murdered. What a day. I just want to move on. That's it.
It's Thursday, man. Can you get over it?
No, I can't. It's tough. It's not how my life works. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah, I mean, it's another game wrecker to have to deal with. Carson, get the legs ready. He's scrambling.
Pacers lose 118-100 last night to the Raptors. It was ugly. 22 turnovers. The length and athleticism of Toronto just suffocated Indiana, particularly Domantas Sabonis. 4 shot attempts in 34 minutes. He couldn't do anything whatsoever. Honestly, his baskets were mostly off of offensive rebounds when he even got a look at the rim. And then to add insult to injury, Malcolm Brogdon leaves in the third quarter with a left hamstring injury. Isaiah Jackson leaves with a not looking good left knee injury in the fourth quarter. When do the Pacers get their next win?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I'm going to answer your question with a statement on my betting habits. Pacers, I'm done with you. I'm not betting the Pacers again to win until they win at least 2 straight.
How long is that going to be?
I know, it might be forever, but you have to get 2 straight wins.
They were favored last night,
before I'm back on the train. And I think, no, they were 1-point dogs against Milwaukee. I don't think they were favored in that Milwaukee game.
No.
Can't remember. But I think Saturday against the Raptors. I think they respond at home. I don't think they beat the Nets, but I think they get their next win Saturday against Toronto. I will not be betting that game.
I said Monday against the Spurs.
So it goes Spurs Monday, and don't they play the Knicks at home next week?
This is next week. Spurs Monday at home against the Knicks on Wednesday, then away to the Trailblazers, Kings, Nuggets, Jazz.
Yeah, that starts that stretch. 7 of 8 on the road there, and the only home game is Philly. So
I forgot how insane Knicks fans are, by the way. There's a account on Twitter, it's Sidewalk NYC or something like that. It has Knicks fan just going crazy outside the Garden.
That video after opening night was one of the funniest things that I've seen.
It's great.
Absolutely. Until Marshawn Lynch topped it on Monday night. That was absolutely epic there. So at Brooklyn tomorrow. Brooklyn.
What the
Yeah, again. Wait, TJ Leaf over OG? 2-3 on the year, the Nets. They lost the Heat last night. No back-to-back for the Nets either tonight or Saturday. I feel like when you play against a team that has Durant and Harden, you got to note when the back-to-backs are. So you would think the Nets would be healthy for that matchup. All right, it's 1-1 in the Fall Classic. The Astros, I think, do what we thought they would. Granted, maybe not the score of 7-2. I don't know it's how we thought they would get there. A lot of small ball last night in the second inning. They were up 5-1 with 4 runs after that second inning, and they were able to hold on from there. Now the series shifts to Atlanta. Selfishly, we want late game drama with this series. Game 3, 4, and 5. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Atlanta. All of those first pitches remain at 8 o'clock. Thursday Night Football tonight. Mark's got the Cardinals -6. I've got the Packers +6.
Packers suck!
Yeah, shut up. The Packers are 6-0 without Devontae Adams the last 2 seasons. That gives me hope. Granted, no Allen Lazard, which is a big loss. For the Cardinals, no J.J. Watt. Sounds like he could have season-ending shoulder surgery there. Their defense has been really good. We don't give them enough credit. We've got the Cardinals at 7-0, guys. We've got the Packers at 6-1. So combined records of 13-1. How about the Packers? They're undefeated since just that abysmal season opener when they got shredded. This matchup is the 3rd highest winning percentage combined between 2 teams this late in an NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as excited for this as any matchup on the slate this coming week. I do wish that the Packers were healthier. I think that the Cardinals will win, but give credit to Rodgers for, I think, his comments after the Week 1 loss were basically, we'll be all right. We'll get it figured out. We'll be fine. Relax. Some people kind of laughed at it, and Jeopardy jokes were made, and they responded with 6 straight wins. Mark, where does the Packers suck lighter rank in terms of your favorite sound bites do you have? Is that it? Is that
all time. You get the Indy tie-in with Peyton, and then you get him in the Ditka mustache and everything. So it's fantastic.
What is that? Is that from one of those Peyton places?
Peyton's places, yeah.
What, he dunks his head into
the au jus and the Italian beef. By the way, Packers beginning a rough stretch. They're at the Cardinals, then they're at the Chiefs, home against the Seahawks.
Man, I think those receivers
they have
need to
the
take
Rams
2 weeks
in there
off.
too, and then the Ravens as well. Woof.
Just for safety for everybody, I think that the receivers that were close contacts probably for the Packers need to stay out for at least 3 weeks. Probably good.
Such a cheese comment there.
Please.
We won't have Jimmy Cook in with us tomorrow. Jay Cook, any thoughts on the college football slate this weekend? It's a great slate. Let's talk locally, though. IU, Maryland, 3.5-point underdog there. The Hoosiers, Purdue at Nebraska, touchdown underdog, and Notre Dame at home. I believe it's 3 or 4 against North Carolina without Kyle Hamilton. Any thoughts on the local slate?
My wife is the biggest IU football fan that I know. She's a bigger IU football fan than she is an IU basketball fan. I've not.
Gosh, wow.
I know, it's
Pray
wild.
for her.
I've not gotten her pulse on, because we went to the game this past weekend. Boy, was that fun.
Yeah.
I don't know where her pulse is in terms of the team right now, but gosh, do we both love Tom Allen. Beat Maryland. Come on. Get back in the win column.
Even with the true freshman?
Bowl hopes are still in play in theory.
No.
Granted, you have to win.
I'm glad you threw it in theory.
In theory, okay? There is a simulation, okay? There is a Doctor Strange chance, if you will, that the Hoosiers could make a bowl game. They just have to beat every bad team remaining on their schedule to get there. That includes the Boilermakers, who aren't necessarily bad.
And beat Minnesota. I think that's kind of
also,
one where it's like...
Our Notre Dame fanhood aligns here. The Irish are still being floated around in playoff talks. No, we're not going to know anything until the release. Anything's happened.
They would need Haley's Comet to hit.
but I'm serious, though.
So many teams.
I don't want them to get in there, though, because I don't want the narrative of them getting... I'm serious, man.
Dude, the narrative's never going to change. That's such a weak
Unless
fandom.
You win. I'm sorry.
Weak fandom. Get in there and pray for miracles. He's Jimmy Cook. I couldn't disagree with that comment anymore. I'm Kevin Bowe. Pop quiz time here on the Fan Morning Show, 317-239-1070. Last time Jay Cook was in,
we had a winner.
Winner. Chicken dinner. Let's see if we can do that again. 317-239-1070. Teron Davenport covers the Titans, going to join us around 9:45 as well.
Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code WFNI when you sign up and get up to $1,000. Code WFNI bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Indianapolis December 22nd with 2 shows at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Tickets are on sale now. Details at 1075thefan.com.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
At Huntington, we've been asking ourselves, is it possible to lend money at zero interest? And it totally is. Introducing Standby Cash. When you need extra cash, you can qualify for between $100 and $1,000 at Huntington. And it's free when you autopay us back across 3 months. Why would a bank do that? Just to look out for people. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington. Welcome. Without automatic payments, 12% APR. Eligibility requirements apply. Amount available is based on customer eligibility. Learn more at huntington.com/standbycash.
Hopefully, you'll never have a house or business fire. But if you do, hopefully, you'll never forget this name. Michaelis. They can be there before that lump in your throat goes away. In fact, they're the reason it goes away. Over 35 years of helping people recover from faulty wiring, lightning strikes, or that unattended pot of pasta on the stove. Michaelis crews often roll in before the fire hoses are rolled up. Their proven process of water extraction, smoke removal, and content storage will calm your nerves. Then their talented craftsmen will rebuild your home and restore your spirits. That starts by being your advocate with the insurance company. You'll find Michaelis doesn't just feel for you, they work for you. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Do you have chronic joint pain, knees hurting, hips aching? Well, it's time to think about an exciting new way to treat joint pain with biological therapies, regenerative solutions. I'm talking about QC Kinetics. This is Kevin Bowen, and I know lots of people that have already called QC Kinetics. They are the leader in helping people deal with chronic pain with no surgery, no drugs, no steroids, and no downtime. These natural pain treatments can actually repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with long-lasting results. Call QC Kinetics to learn more. 463-235-7160. If you have joint pain due to arthritis, lower back pain, shoulder, hips, or knee pain, you need to change the way you think about pain treatments and discover the biological therapies at QC Kinetics. Get moving again. Get your life back with no surgeries, no drugs. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more. 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
Hey, JMV, from my friends Joe, John, and Dennis, and Connecticut. I've learned a lot of things from them over the years, and one is with the change of the season, your water can change too. So it's a great time to have your water tested by the experts at Connecticut. And guess what? Connecticut will come to your house and test your water for free. That's right, at no cost to you. So do what I did and have Connecticut test your water. You'll learn what's really in your water and how you can keep it clean. Great tasting water, no matter what water problems you have. It's ConnecticutIndy.com to learn more today.
The Colts have a history of playing on Halloween.
Sellout crowd in the Hoosier Dome tonight. First time
Now
ever.
Tennessee comes to town on All Hallows Eve.
A bizarre crowd, if you will.
And the Colts are looking for vengeance against the Titans Sunday. Payback is hell.
Autumn nights are full of sights that are often wild and rare.
Our coverage starts at 10 a.m. Kickoff with Matt Taylor at 1.
Phantoms float through the air.
On your home for Colts football. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Fan Morning Show's Pop Quiz with Kevin Bowen. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
It's Kevin Bowen and the scared Jimmy Cook. Just soft with us here.
It is Halloween. I'm worried.
On the Fan Morning Show, pop quiz time. Scotty, last time Jimmy Cook was in, we had a winner. I don't know if that makes you a little nervous, but here we go. Jimmy Cook, give us a number 1 through 8.
7.
Ben.
Mark Dykton. We got Ben. That's my nephew's name. What's up, Ben?
What's up, guys? I'm on my way to Vegas. Let's get the losing out of the way.
Let's go. What's in Vegas, Ben?
What?
What's in Vegas besides winning millions?
World Series of Poker. Let's go.
Oh, are you playing?
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of poker. I'm going to play get off the plane today and fire one up.
God, I absolutely love this. I feel good about this. I haven't felt this good going into a pop quiz in a while. All right, Ben, here we go. Name the 2 teams that played in last year's World Series.
Oh, geez. The Dodgers.
Nice.
And that's National League. In the American League, we had the
big underdog story.
Houston.
Big underdog story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick Vitale loves him.
They had a lot of championships last year. Their city.
Yes. They had a lot of championships. Did they even play baseball last year?
They did. It was kind of weird. It's an AL East team.
We're going with the Tampa Bay AL East. Let's go with the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, no, you already said Tampa Bay, so we're moving on.
Jesus.
All right,
Oh
man.
my goodness. What a start.
Boy,
Fold now.
Good to see Ben has a 2-7 off suit here to start off.
Oh, what the
Number 2, the Astros beat the Braves 7-2 last night to even the World Series at a game apiece. It is the Astros' 7th win this postseason by 5 or more runs, tying a major league record. Name the other team to win 7 games by 5 or more runs in a single postseason. Was it A, the Astros, B, the Los Angeles Dodgers, C, the Boston Red Sox, or D, the New York Yankees?
D, the New York Yankees.
All right, number 2, Jose Urquidy struck out 7 Braves in the Astros Game 2 win last night. This is the second most strikeouts in a World Series game by a Houston pitcher, who holds the franchise record with 9 strikeouts in a World Series game. Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte.
Ooh, Roger played for a lot of teams.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
There are 2 correct answers, though, Ben, if that makes you feel any better.
Okay. Let's go with Roger Clemens.
All right, Jimmy.
On this day in 1962, Y.A. Tittle of the New York Giants became the 4th NFL quarterback to throw 7 touchdown passes in a game. In the ensuing 59 years, 4 more quarterbacks have thrown 7 touchdowns in a game. Which of the following quarterbacks does not have a 7 touchdown NFL game on his resume? A, Joe Kapp, B, Nick Foles, C, Drew Brees, or D, Dan Fouts?
Nick Foles.
All right, and the last one, mercifully. On this day in 1973, Elmore Smith of the LA Lakers set an NBA record that stands to this day. What record does Smith still hold? A, the most blocked shots in a game. B, the most consecutive games being ejected. C, the most assists in a half. Or D, the most steals in a quarter.
I have no idea, but getting ejected sounds like the most fun, so we'll do that one.
Well, you did really good, so it's tough that you didn't know that last one.
Ben, we will. We hope your luck in Vegas is better than your luck on this pop quiz. Name the 2 teams that played in last year's World Series: Dodgers, and then
long drink of water, Rays.
Jeez, yeah,
that is correct.
All right, the other team besides the Braves to win 7 games by at least 5 runs in a single postseason. Jimmy, he said your Yankees.
Was not my Yankees. It was the real bad guys, the Bo Sox.
You blew it! You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser. You lose.
Good day, sir.
Tony, get your bag and get the hell out of here.
Absolute trash.
Jeff Saturday right there.
That was rough.
Oh, boy, that was tough. All right, quickly, Verlander or Garrett Cole? They both 9 strikeouts in a World Series game for the Astros. Nick Foles threw 7 touchdowns. Dan Fouts does not have one. And Elmore Smith, doesn't Elmore Smith just sound like a shot blocker? Most blocked shots in a game, 17 versus Portland. Thank you, Ben. Safe travels. Good luck. And we come back on the Fan Morning Show. Teron Davenport, ESPN.com, is going to join us talk about the Titans. Jimmy Cook, Kevin Bowen, 93.5, 107.5.
Are you an HVAC technician, plumber, or sewer and drain specialist? Are you dissatisfied with your current employer? Have you been laid off or had your hours reduced now that the busy season is ending? Then call Vasey Commercial Facility Solutions. They're hiring experienced industrial commercial technicians. Get full benefits and true work-life balance. Call Vasey now at 317-873-2512. That's Vasey, 317-873-2512. Or go to Vasey.com to learn more.
All right, week 8 of the NFL is upon us, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week, and Thursday night's a great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Been talking about it all show. Packers against the Cardinals, a monster game in the NFC tonight. I've got the over in points at 50.5. DeAndre Hopkins and Aaron Jones' anytime touchdown scores, and A.J. Green over 44.5 yards receiving. A $10 bet will pay out over $110 right there. Plus, I have a side bet with Kevin Bowen on some beer, so I'm really pulling for the Cardinals tonight. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code MARK to also receive 25-1 enhanced odds on any touchdown during the Sunday night matchup between Dallas and Minnesota. Win $125 on a $5 bet. That's promo code MARK so they know I sent you, M-A-R-C. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We've done it again!
While other lenders are talking about raising their rates, our expert team at Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With the low rate of 1.875% and home values at all-time highs, you can get more cash out of your home or eliminate pricey mortgage insurance.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get your refinance started within minutes and make no mortgage payments until next year.
After all, our team speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. We can save you even more money with our 1.875% rate.
Plus, you'll never pay up front for your appraisal at Golden Oak. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
The non-stop action of tennis takes center court at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers serves up an exciting tennis betting experience like no other, with a massive number of live in-game betting options, including point-by-point betting. But don't just bet on the game live. Watch it live. Bet Rivers Sportsbook live streams a huge number of tour events from around the world throughout the tennis season. Try it today, and Bet Rivers will match your first deposit up to $250. It's a winner. Bet on tennis at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Go now to betrivers.com. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline right now. You know, we usually have Mike Wells on from ESPN.com to talk about the Colts, and thankfully, this representative of ESPN.com actually works hard, unlike Mike Wells. He is Teron Davenport, covers the Titans. Teron, we enjoy our chats every time these two teams appear on the schedule, so thanks for hopping on again.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Hey, man, if I could step in for my esteemed colleague Mike Wells, I will be glad to do it. That's my guy.
Yeah, those shoes are not too big, but thank you for doing this. Let's go back to the first meeting, Teron. Obviously, really limited Carson Wentz, but on the flip of that, you know, Julio Jones, AJ Brown barely played in that game. So, what do you recall about that first game and just kind of how that impacts things on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I think you take that first game and just kindly box it up and throw it in the trash, because these teams are a lot different now. And you're right, A.J. Brown is healthy. He only played 8 snaps in that game, but you look over the last 2 games, he and Tannehill connected on 15 out of 18 targets for 224 yards and a touchdown. So the passing game is there. But then when you look at this Colts team, Quentin Nelson is back. Braden Smith may be back. Carson Wentz is no longer playing on 2 sprained ankles, which that just amazed me that he was out there. But nevertheless, Wentz is playing a lot better football. The hero ball aspect, he seemed to have left that in Philly. But I think most importantly, he's healthy. And that's going to be a big thing. But I just wonder how that run defense is going to be without Julian Blackmon.
Teron Davenport joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at @TDavenport_NFL. Teron, has the Titans from a defensive standpoint turned a corner, or did they just have a great game plan they executed against Kansas City over the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. Their red zone defense is just continuing to trend upwards, so that's a really good thing. They're doing well on third downs as well. They held the Chiefs, I believe it was 0 for 3 in the red zone, so that obviously played a factor in the game. But when you look at the defense, the thing that's really improving and coming along is the pass rush. They got a nice little package there. I actually do a segment on ESPN.com called Whiteboard Wednesday, and each week I just draw up something, whether it's something that they did in the previous game or something from the team that the Titans are playing. And this week it was about a package that they use. So they only rushed 4 for a good portion of the game. They blitzed 1 time, but they got 18 pressures. And the way they did it was Bud Dupree and Danico Autry, former Colt, on the outside, and then Jeffrey Simmons along the interior with Harold Landry as well, but just playing a little bit off the ball. They just do a lot of stuff with that, and they were able to get a lot of pressure. And I don't know that it's going to be the same this week because the Colts offensive line is pretty good, but I do think they are turning a corner. And when you watch this game, watch number 51, David Long. It's a pleasure watching him play football because he's such a natural at linebacker, and you'll see what I mean. And then also the turnovers are starting to improve as well. So those are the aspects. You know, Kevin Byard is playing outstanding football. So those are some of the ways in which they are turning the corner.
Every time the Colts and Titans get together, we have on Teron Davenport, covers the Titans for ESPN.com. Let's stick there on that D-line. You brought up Danico Autry. Colts fans will hate hearing it, but he's got 3.5 sacks, and nobody on the Colts roster has more than 3 sacks through 7 games. What has Autry meant to this team and that defensive line?
You know, he's meant an awful lot to the team, and I believe when they signed him, that was just to add just like a killer, crusher type of mindset. And that's what he's brought. And, I mean, this guy, I've seen him play stand-up outside linebacker, defensive end, line up inside as like a 3-tech. I mean, he's done it all for that defensive line and the linebacking part of it. So he really has meant a lot. I know Jeffrey Simmons, in talking to him, he said that there are some different things as far as moves and just approach and film study that he's benefited from as far as, like, you know, working and talking to Autry. So Autry's not a man of many words to us in the media, but evidently he is one to his colleagues.
Teron, I know it's just the first injury report of the week, but what, if anything, concerns you, surprises you, or are you going to keep tracking as the week unfolds, we get closer to Sunday on the Titans side of the injury ledger?
There really isn't much. I mean, I would definitely monitor the Julio Jones situation. That hamstring, you know, they're treating that with kids' gloves. So, you know, as that continues to evolve, you know, we'll see what happens today. It's raining here, so I would imagine they'll be inside. And that's something else to consider when they've gone inside, but Dupree hasn't practiced. So I'm not sure, how that knee will respond if he does practice. So those are the two that I would monitor. Taylor Lewan is actually in concussion protocol. He had a pretty bad one. Was carted off the field for the Monday night game. Didn't practice last week, but we saw him yesterday for the first time, and he seemed to be okay. But obviously, he has to pass protocol. So there's actually 3 situations to monitor.
Teron Davenport from ESPN.com here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Teron, I feel like running backs is just a stigma against them for some reason when it comes to big-time awards. I don't know how you can get very far down any MVP list without putting Derrick Henry's name on that list. Do you think there's a chance he could actually win the award? And again, it's not a knock on Henry. It's more of just like, do you believe you and our colleagues would vote for a running back over, a quarterback with, whatever, Kyler Murray, Tom Brady type numbers?
This is the most national attention I've seen Henry get. So it's very possible, but I think it really comes down to more games. Like, they'll need to have some Sunday games, flex to night games, in order for him to be on a national stage and really show what he could do. Because I'll say this, even those who watch Derrick Henry each and every week, you take it for granted. And it's crazy because, every week during a game, ESPN Stats and Info in a Slack channel, I'm getting some type of stat that says, hey, Derrick Henry just did this. The only other player to do that is Jim Brown. Or the only other player to do that is LaDainian Tomlinson or Eric Dickerson or Walter Payton or Emmitt Smith. So it's like you have a guy who week in and week out is doing something along the lines of the best to ever play the position. I think that should warrant him being an MVP. And this happens despite all of the opposition's attention being paid towards stopping this man, and they just don't seem to be able to do it. So for me, absolutely MVP. Last week was a good example of why I think he should be the MVP because, he only rushed for 86 yards, but all of the attention up front allowed that play action to work, and A.J. Brown had a $133 and a touchdown. So even when he's not bringing up the stat sheet, he is impacting other players. And to me, it's kind of like LeBron James, right? LeBron can have a 20-point game, 10 assists, and 11 rebounds. You're like, oh, wow, he didn't, score 30 points. But then you look, he had 10 assists, So I think it's a similar correlation.
Teron, we got about a minute left. Ryan Tannehill, particularly with his legs, left a big impact on the Colts in their Week 3 matchup. They're aware of it. They know they need to address it better. Do you expect that still to be a difference maker and make an impact on this game?
Oh, yeah, especially in the red zone. And that's something I talked to Tannehill about. He said that he wants to make more plays with his legs. He just had a touchdown this past game, off a boot. So you'll definitely see the pocket get moved a bit and them trying to work play action and roll him out and those type of things. So it's obviously something that, will factor in. And like I said, especially in the red zone where they're starting to trend up, to be able to score touchdowns more often.
Toronto, we got, I guess, even shorter than a minute, but are you surprised to see the line, Colts -2 right now?
Yeah, I am a bit surprised to see that, but I mean, the Colts are playing good ball with 30 points in 4 straight games or 3 straight games. So you have to tip your cap to that. But I think the Titans do win.
Always enjoy our conversations, Teron. Safe travels up I-65 or if you're flying here, and we'll see you Sunday up in the press box.
Yeah, for sure, man. We got to get this segment sponsored by St. Elmo's, man. Let's work on that.
Hey, you and me both, man. Come on now. We'll get on that for you.
For sure. All right, man. You guys take it easy.
That's Teron Davenport there from ESPN.com. Always does a great job with us when the Colts and Titans get together. And Jimmy Cook, he's got, 28-24? Is that what you said? 27-24?
I do, and please tune into the Way Too Early pregame show, 6 to 8 a.m. here on Sunday. First Colts voices that you'll hear here on The Fan.
And that's every Sunday.
It is every Sunday. Times sometimes vary, but 6 to 8 a.m. this weekend.
He is Jimmy Cook, again, Dan Dockich's producer. Always enjoy you being in with us, man. And, Friday, I guess you'll be back in with Dan, right?
Well, I will be. Pleasure as always. Thanks for having me in.
He is at the J Cook on Twitter. Thanks again to DeForest Buckner for joining us. Mark will have that podcast up, and we'll make sure to tweet that out if you missed it earlier. It'll be Kevin Bowen, Brendan King, and Mark Dykton tomorrow. Join us 7 a.m. on The Fan.
Right now, it's a seller's market.